I had a good time watching the first three. So I'm excited. You guys make sure you hit the like button coming in. Everybody speak to everybody in the chat. And what I want to do is hopefully towards the end, just like yesterday, be able to drop the link and you guys can ask questions and give commentary or give your thoughts, maybe 2 minutes maximum to do that. So if Johnny Walker Dread wants to hang around to answer some questions, that would be fantastic. And I tried my best to, incorporate a Q&A as well. So I do see some of his supporters coming in. So we're going to bring him on up. Let's go. Let me make sure that, because listen, how you
Hey,
doing, Johnny?
I'm doing pretty good, doing pretty
You
good. And
good?
thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I appreciate that.
Man, it is an honor to have you on, and thank you for coming up. I appreciate that. I see some of your people coming in from your channel coming in, so I get to see their comments as well. Shout out to you, Rudy. 7:02 p.m. Central. What's going on? So you guys make sure you're hitting those like buttons and make sure you guys are engaging in the chat. Ask your questions, give your thoughts. I want to make sure that you guys are able to also check out Johnny Walker Dread's YouTube channel. So let me, if I can get the mod to please drop the link to Johnny Walker Dread on YouTube. That way you guys can go and show him some support. His videos on the dissertation were absolutely hilarious. And they, I guess, can kind of reach the same conclusion that many of us had. I learned nothing from the dissertation. So
Yeah.
I do have it pulled up, and I want to be able to just give you the floor. Thank you so much, Miss Mandy, for dropping the link to your Thank you, Kandia. Miss Mandy also has a YouTube channel. So all content creators, we make sure we show some love in the community here. So if you are a content creator, let us know. We will drop the link to your YouTube channel so you guys can see Miss Mandy reacts. And if we can get Johnny YouTube channel as well, that would be fantastic. Shout out to Mandy. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to my fantastic mods. Kandia, what's going on, Ralph? Share. Francisca, Jeff, how you doing? Salute to you, sir. Thank you all so much. All right. You want to pull up the you want me to pull up the video or you want me to pull up the dissertation? How you want to rock it?
Well, let me go ahead and just describe. I have done 4 videos so far on Umar
Okay.
Johnson's dissertation, and I just I just did a shorts video where I covered one of the references that he botched.
Oh
But
wow.
so I thought I would first just kind of quickly kind of go over what I've covered in the first 3 videos, and I don't think you've watched the
Okay.
fourth one yet because I just
I
came
haven't.
out with it. So we'll watch that one together. Okay.
Okay. All right.
But so let me explain where I came across this whole idea in the first place. And
Absolutely.
I came across Umar Johnson's video when he was talking about the stabbing down in Texas with I forget the name of the student, but they had that track meet
Mhm.
in Texas where one of the students stabbed another one. And I came across Umar Johnson. He was calling himself Dr. Umar, and that's not a good sign.
Wow.
When you're calling yourself Dr. John or Dr. whatever, that's not a good sign. Immediately,
Right.
not always, but I mean, for example, Dr. Phil has a real PhD, but um,
Right.
Dr. Umar, I'm thinking, first of all, I don't like that whole style, and second, he seems too dumb to really have gone on. And I've done this before,
Yeah.
Rashad Ritchie, and I don't know if you know much about him, but he's
Yes, he has his I think he's under is he under what's the content creator? Their YouTube channels.
yeah,
Um
indisputable Young Turks.
Indisputable. There you go. With
Yeah,
Young Turks. There you go. Young Turks is he's like a derivative from Young Turks.
right. So I was watching his, and I'm thinking, there's no way that this guy has any advanced degrees. So I dived into his work. I ended up with
Mhm.
130 videos covering all kinds of his nuttiness.
Wow.
And he was claiming 3 PhDs, 2 Juris Doctorates, probably 5 master's degrees, and he had none of them. And
Wow.
so and so by the way, he makes Umar look like a middle schooler when it comes to, I mean, well, I should say it the other way. I mean, he makes him look like Richard Feynman in terms of faking everything. Um, all of his PhDs and stuff like that were either bought or just totally absurd. So enough of that. We could talk
Oh
about
no,
Rashad
you can
later.
speak on, yeah,
At any
speak on
rate,
another
I got
matter.
dived into that. I got threatened with a lawsuit by Rashad's attorney. She's a real dingbat. And so I'm used to doing this. I did Jill Biden's dissertation. I did Ray Gunn, the Australian, uh, the break dancer, remember from the Olympics? I don't know if you
Oh
saw.
wow.
I
He
did,
has a
I did her
dissertation.
dissertation. I did Shaquille O'Neal's, which was
Oh my
trivial because he
God.
didn't do one. They just handed him an EDD essentially.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine that.
so I turned my gun on to Dr. Umar and I started diving in. My specialty, I think, is one, I get into the nuts and bolts of things very deep. And it's
Mhm,
not a matter of perusing over and finding things I disagree with. It's a matter of what did this person do
mhm.
and was it kosher? And also the motive. Why did he do this dissertation in the first place?
Right.
And so there are three things about Umar that really permeates this dissertation. One is extraordinarily lazy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, everything
Oh
is
my God.
done as easy as possible, right? And so
Mhm.
all those lists of references that he has, he basically just read the abstracts and then stuck them in there, right?
Right.
Really typical.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The other one is that um, he has this Pan African thing going where he wants a captive audience that he can preach to. And the ideal job would have been teacher, right? School teacher, because you got 30
Yeah.
kids in front of you and you can just
Right.
wah, wah, and but the trouble
Right.
is that in his mind, you got to go back to number one. He's lazy and he thinks teaching, oh no, that's work. What is better than being a counselor where I can sit in my desk and little Jimmy got in trouble? Well, little Jimmy, sit down and I'll explain to you all about Pan Africanism, right? But he
Mhm.
didn't realize that being a school psychologist is a lot of work. You got to write up reports and
Right.
like that. And so I have a feeling that he got kind of tired of that really quickly, or
Yep.
they got tired of him. But
Right.
so he wants to get into this. And the other one is that he's just not real bright. And that shows up as well in the dissertation.
Mhm.
He's not a scholar of any sort, right?
Exactly. Right.
So,
He's more of
so
a just a silver tongued soothsayer. He has a way with words, and he just kind of repeats those words in different, you know, arrangements and sentences, and he says the same thing without really making a point.
Well, and the other thing
You
he's
know.
good at, which it doesn't really show up in the dissertation, but explains how he got the data, is he's good at begging. He will
Yes.
needle you and whine you. And so you wonder, well, why would anybody give him that data for him to do his report? Well, I think that he just like, come on, you got to help a brother, right?
The
Come
help.
on. And so that is primarily how I think he got his data. So in
Yeah.
video one, I looked
And you
at.
let me know if you need me to slow down or pause at anytime you
Go
want me
ahead.
to stop
I'm
or
sorry.
start backward. If you want me to start back
I'm
to
just
the
going to go
beginning,
ahead and yeah.
okay, let's go back
Oh,
to the
are you
beginning.
wanting to play the video now or?
No, no, no. This is
Oh,
the
okay.
first video. So the first
Mhm.
three I've seen. I just I didn't know if you wanted me to play it or if you wanted me. This is playing without sound, and I just have up the closed captions. But if
No,
you
that's
wanted
fine.
me to
Whatever
play it
you
or you
want to
just want
do.
to talk through it, whichever is comfortable for you.
Hmm, I think this is working.
Okay. All right.
Well, in video one, the first thing I look at are the references because I'm trying to see about the what that person did to get positioned for
Mhm.
writing, for undergoing this experiment. And the references themselves, nothing leaps out at you, except that the two major ones that he needed to cover, he didn't even cite. And
Right.
that tells me that he's not a scholar. You can't do that. I mean, if you're going to present a dissertation, you are presenting yourself as an expert in the field. And
Absolutely.
to completely miss the two most relevant articles out there that, for the most part, cover exactly what you did. I mean, listen to the
Right.
title of this. multidimensional self concepts and achievement in African American middle school students. That was one of the
Right.
papers that he didn't cite. Oh my gosh,
Right.
that's his work
Right.
practically. Okay, so that was one of the issues I had. Which, by the way, if I was on his graduate committee, I would have said, no, 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 no. You need to go back and work a little bit more on this. And then,
Absolutely.
of course, there was the 100 versus 99 thing. I thought that was pretty funny.
I cannot believe that math is blowing my mind still. I mean,
Yeah.
it how did they not catch it's
Well,
simple
my gut
addition.
feeling is here's what I think happened. I think,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to guess, I
Okay.
think that that was handed to him with a footnote that said that two of the respondents didn't fill it in, or it was so badly muddled that they couldn't figure it out. But
Mhm.
Umar didn't bother to put the footnote in the actual dissertation, right? He just copies and pastes, and therefore it got lost in the translation. But
If
I
I
mean,
can ask a question, can I ask a question right quick? Do you
sure.
think this was the proper APA format style of these, thesis, dissertation documents, papers that it should have been written in? I mean, because
Well,
I looked that up and I'm like, was it following the APA
no,
format?
no,
What
no. I mean,
style was this?
clearly not APA.
Yes,
I will cut
didn't
him
think
some
so.
slack on that. I will cut him some slack on that because I hate APA. I think it's the
Hmm.
worst of the worst. So the fact
Okay.
that he didn't use it won't bother me any. In fact,
Okay.
I would thank him for that because I like to actually be able to read something
Yeah.
and not have to go through all these parentheses and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I
So,
was
and I
hammering it
didn't.
to me in college.
My PhD is in the hard sciences, so or the engineering
Okay.
actually. So I don't we
Okay.
don't use APA at all. We use little
Okay.
tiny numbers.
Okay. Gotcha.
um,
Gotcha.
okay. So at any rate, just to tell everybody, he claimed there were 101 students in the deal, but when you add up the numbers of male and females, it comes to 99.
Right. Exactly.
But how does the graduate committee miss that? You
It's
got
it
three people that are supposed to read this thing.
absolutely
Um,
yes. There were three advisors, and I was going to ask that. I mean, as far as the factual information, what is the method that they typically use to verify? I mean, even basic facts in these types of dissertations like this. Any dissertation, what method do they use to try to validate basic facts
well,
throughout the paper?
Well, nowadays, and this they could call this the Umar rule, but you nowadays you have to publish the raw data on an actual public site. They won't let
Okay.
you publish it, so they will. And I know because I've had to do this. You have
Hmm.
to confirm the uploading of your data to that site before they will even review your paper.
Okay.
Back in the day, though, they didn't. And you would have to email the author and go, "Oh, please give me your data," and they would say no. And I know that for a fact
Okay.
because a guy named John Hattie is like the giant in education. In my opinion, he's done almost none of the work he claims. And I asked
Hmm.
him for the data, and he wouldn't give it to me. So, yeah.
Oh, I
But
saw the
whatever the case,
email as well, and I was like, "This is sad." We had to reach out just to get the dissertation because that should have been available to the public, and just as much as the others. But then, for having this verification check, and you guys are reaching out via email to get more information on the archival data, and they weren't
oh
cooperating with that. I mean that you can, of course, I'm sure you're going to get to it, but it's just astounding to me how just answering a couple questions was like overcoming a battle.
yeah, I mean, the idea that he kept his PhD hidden, or not PhD, sorry, but I'll use the term PhD
Yes.
quite a bit. I get it mixed up. But the fact that he
Right.
kept it hidden is makes no sense. I mean, you're supposed to be very proud of your dissertation. That's like
Absolutely.
your shining moment in your
Mhm.
life, really, other than maybe having your kids or getting married, right? It's your
Right.
dissertation, and not letting anybody
Right.
see it is ludicrous. I mean, I'm proud of mine, and
Yeah.
you can't get me to shut up about it.
It take the
um,
time you put into it. You should be.
yeah, but that's the other thing that bothers me about not only just Umar, but a large number of these dissertations I reviewed is there's
Mhm.
no scholarship. They're not trying to bend over backwards to do something meaningful. They just want the
Mhm.
degree.
Yeah.
And Jill
Yeah.
Biden was that way. I like her. She's a very nice lady. I'd love to sit and talk to her sometime. I have no problem with
Okay.
her, but she put no effort in at all. And Rashad, he just buys his. So there's just,
Is it
um,
so that he communicated or reached out to you since about
oh,
the video you done on his?
you mean Rashad?
Yeah, Rashad.
No, I actually said I responded. You don't threaten somebody a lawsuit in their comment section of their YouTube video. It's just
That-
ridiculous, right? And
That's
that's
an
an ethics
indication he's not
violation.
serious. Oh yeah,
But it even got worse. She actually served on his dissertation committee for a different degree, which makes her a witness in any future proceedings. So she
oh
she can't
my
represent
God.
him. It's
Yeah,
it's a
that is a
total clown
conflict.
show. But I don't want to make this about Rashad Ritchie. We really need to get together though, because he will blow your mind, and it's
Oh
deep.
wow.
There's an
Okay.
actual network out there of diploma mills that are working together to funnel these degrees to these people, and I've
Yeah.
uncovered it, and that would make
Oh
for a
wow.
fascinating live stream. But
Absolutely.
oh yeah,
Absolutely. I would, we have to do that soon. We can listen, we can do that next week. That would be a
oh,
lot of fun.
I'm
I
down.
enjoy diving in.
Absolutely.
I
Oh yeah,
love diving
I
into
love
this
it.
stuff because it uncovers, what's truly going on. And you have, people like Umar putting themselves out there and purporting themselves to be this so-called doctor, something I would never call him. And it affects the public. It affects, the minds and the concept of having a school for children. It all of that affects it because he's riding on this so-called intellect that he wants
Mhm.
people to believe he has, that obviously he can't, craft an actual dissertation on something that, even if you use archival data, the subject matter itself, to me, it just seemed rudimentary from the start. It's not something that I would want to read from someone trying to obtain a doctorate in psychology. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, this dissertation was designed to set up
Hmm.
justification for his Pan-African. um, Students will do better if they're proud of
Hmm.
their culture and they know a lot about it. So
Hmm.
this thing was about positioning for his FDMG Academy. That's what
Okay.
this doctor was about.
Right.
And
Okay.
unfortunately, none of the questionnaires that the students completed
Hmm.
pointed to that. So he just makes it up, and you'll see that here in a moment. Um, but
Yeah.
anyway, that was the motive for his dissertation. Was, he wants to be called doctor, and he wants to
Hmm.
be able to establish the research basis for his new school. Okay,
Okay.
but then that archival data
It-
thing was also an issue, and I should probably explain that
yes, please.
doing a real experimental study is actually pretty hard work if you're going to do it right, right? And
Right.
like most of them don't, but if you're going
Right.
to do it right, you got to write up your questionnaires. You got to get them validated and made them reliable. You have to arrange for a school to go along with going into the
Hmm.
classrooms, delivering them. You got to deliver them, right? And
Right.
you have to run up the statistics and all that. And
Okay.
there's data archiving. There's a lot of work goes into it, and Umar solved that problem by just doing somebody else's data. So he didn't have to do
Wow.
any of that. None of it. That other person, and we know who it is. We're pretty sure it's Tamara Thomas Smith. She did
Okay.
all. So she collects all this data, and she, I'm sure, did also the calculations. And then she just hands it to him. Now, I don't know if this was in her EDD. I couldn't find her EDD, but she had her
Hmm.
EDD about, if it was for EDD, then somebody's lying about the years in which this thing was administered. But lying is not a problem. I mean, lying is not an issue for
It's
these people. It's really not.
it's, and I have a question about this with, what, and I don't want to just say the word out loud, but it seems like the idea or the concept of him just utilizing this data that wasn't very well cited, would that be an indication, or the would one look at that as perhaps a copying situation? without saying
Is
the
it very
word, right?
directly? Well, we can talk
Yes.
about it. I'll use the word so you
Okay.
don't, but,
Okay.
um, no, an archival study is valid. The trouble
Mhm.
is that I would not use one for a dissertation because
Okay.
a doctoral dissertation is designed to show that you can create these questionnaires and that you can deliver them. And in other words, you can function as an independent researcher. If you're using
Mhm.
archival data, then you're not doing any of that stuff. And
Absolutely.
a big one is if you use archival data, you don't have to go through the IRB process. Now, the
Okay.
IRB is a board that universities have. And if you're going to want to do an experiment on humans, you got to go to them and say, here's what I want to do. And then they say, no. Or they say, okay, but you're going to have to undergo some training
Right.
because you could do some harm. And this grew out, and I'm pretty sure it grew out of a study that
Mhm.
where they did a study on when people would panic, and they put them through like a fake smoke alarm thing, like you saw in The Office. I don't know if you see, but at
Mhm.
any rate, some of
Yeah.
the people learned for the first time that they tend to panic, and it caused them psychological problems after the study was over. They find out that
Wow.
I'm a coward, I don't act, and so they decided, look, I mean, some of these studies can really harm people. Therefore, you're not doing
Mhm.
anything on humans until you come to
Right.
us. And that process is rigorous. I actually had to go through the IRB process and get trained. Mine was the lowest level training. It was still a full week.
Wow.
so,
Wow.
so that Umar's not going to want to do that.
Absolutely
Remember,
not.
it's all about laziness. So,
Yep.
but if somebody else has already done the experiment, just giving you the data, then you don't have to do that. And you'll notice he mentions archival everywhere. Every time he mentions data,
Exactly.
archive. He's wanting to let everybody know that this is archival data. I didn't have to do the IRB thing. The problem is that there's no
Mhm.
IRB number on anywhere in the dissertation, so it
I
doesn't
was
look like
just about
Mark
to
Smith
ask
got
that.
it.
Right. And I was just about to ask that. I mean, to the average reader who may not have done a dissertation, where would you go in the dissertation itself to verify
It's
if
supposed to be
there's an
stated.
IRB? What page we for, where should they go to verify that
Usually it's
information?
Usually it's very up in the front near the acknowledgments. You put an IRB number. This is past institutional review board number A476 on such and such date or whatever. Um,
Okay.
but that doesn't show up anywhere. And some of these questions are harmful. For example,
Oh
asking a
wow.
student, like, do you think that you don't perform well because you're black? I mean, a student who
Yes.
like never even
Yes.
thought about that might be now thinking, is that the reason why I'm not doing well? Oh, and there's nothing I can do about
Do
that,
about it. Yeah.
That's really damaging. So an
Exactly.
IRB would say, yeah, no, you're not going to ask those questions.
You're right.
Right.
And do you think that, Tamara, and I went back to the part of the video, of course, here, the dedication acknowledgement that you
Mm.
highlighted with Dr. Tamara Thomas Smith. Did you see in her dissertation? I'm sure you probably took a look at it.
I
Did it
don't
have
have
an
it.
IR?
I
Okay.
don't
Did it
have
have
her dissertation.
you? Did you ever read over hers or?
No, I don't have it.
Oh,
Um, I
okay.
looked,
Okay.
I looked for it. I didn't find it. I didn't put a lot of time and effort in trying to find it.
Okay.
I
I
should
was just
have
gonna ask
because
if it was an IRB on hers, but
yeah. Now she worked as a assistant principal for a school district. I don't
okay.
know what the IRB process, but they do get federal funding, so you should have to get an IRB from somebody. But
Right.
yeah, that's another.
Okay.
Oh, and
I
by the
just
way, just
yeah.
an aside, just to show you how crazy Rashad is, he actually performed clinical studies on Alzheimer's on a patient. He never got IRB approval, and
And
he has no
God.
medical background at all. So yeah, I'm telling you, we need to talk about it someday.
What is this? God, it seems to be dangerous to sit here to say that you've done any level of testing on any patient or what they want to refer to as a patient whatsoever without a license. I mean, who would be the board to ensure that if that happens, these people are penalized for doing this to eliminate this from happening? I mean, to just say I've done testing on people and you're not licensed to do these types of tests or administer
So
these types of tests.
if you get IRB approval and you've gone through the training, then you can actually perform those studies. And
Okay.
the IRB process is designed to make sure that you're trained, and it's going to be very specific to your particular experiment. Now,
Okay.
part of the IRB process is if you're doing something that's like you're going to be cutting people open, yeah, they're going to
Right.
want. It's not just a matter of training there, right?
Okay.
They're going to want supervisors on hand and things like that. But and
Okay.
I keep in mind, I don't know a lot about the IRB process because I've never done any major stuff with humans. I mean, I'm
Okay.
an engineer, so why would I?
I just I mean,
Um,
just the danger in Umar, as you know, trying to diagnose a child, um, and the fact that he would do this after he allegedly obtained this degree goes to show that he certainly had no wherewithal to do any s- type of testing in preparing this dissertation. Um, and he going out and and putting that out there as if it's something to brag on, knowing he was not licensed to do that. I mean,
well, he
it,
actually did get licensed.
how,
He held it for a
was he
while.
certified for this
Yeah,
for to
yeah.
work at the school? But
Well,
was he licensed to as a psychologist? Is my question because I saw
whatever
certifications.
yeah, whatever certification was required for him to practice as a school psychologist, he got it for a while. Now, he's no
Hmm.
longer licensed. I don't know if he
Right.
lost his license or he just gave it up. No
The
idea. But
certifications, the two that I saw had expired,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
that's
the second one he just never got a renewal for. So,
mhm.
but
Yeah,
wouldn't
and
there
right
be a
now
difference in? I guess that my question would be: wouldn't there be a difference in having a certification for this? Just to do something on a school level versus being licensed to actually diagnose. Wouldn't there be a difference in that?
well, no, I don't think so. I mean, school children, he can diagnose them. He can't prescribe drugs because he's not a medical doctor,
Right.
but yeah, he should be able. At the time, he should have been able to diagnose the student and provide suggestions, but he just couldn't prescribe anything.
Okay.
Only a psychiatrist can prescribe
It's
medicine.
scribe. Yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
you have to be an MD. So I'm gonna move on to your
Question
second
here.
video, so you can go ahead and go through and just kind of talk us through. He said it sucks real bad.
I
So
don't understand the question though we have on there. Does anyone know how many times Umar wrote his doctoral thesis? I only wrote an undergraduate senior project or thesis. Okay. It doesn't look like Umar wrote this. I'm not quite certain I understand by how many times you only write it once. Okay. So I'm a little confused.
he wrote his doctoral thesis. Maybe are you asking how like if he did it a draft of it or some edits to it or if he
There's no way of
even
knowing.
read it? If he read it. I just I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think he really wrote it. I just think he kind of did more of copy and pasting than
Well, I
anything
think that
else. This is my honest opinion.
it comes down to what Tamara Smith gave him, because it may be
Right.
what she gave him was practically his
What
dissertation,
he
especially if it
used.
was her EDD, right?
Yes.
So maybe I should
Yeah.
look into it. And that kind of comes back to like, was she actually the actual source of the data? And we asked
Mhm.
her, and she told us go pound sand, go ask the school. I'm like, oh, come on.
I saw that in the video when you said I had to blur it out. Can you tell us exactly what she said in the email? It's okay if you use profanity.
Um,
What did she say?
okay, so basically, the I think you're talking about the F bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't say that. That was my little
Oh man.
take on what she was saying.
It just heard beep. I said, oh no.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to mislead you on that.
No,
But
it's
no,
oh no, it was
she
funny.
didn't
I
actually
found
use
it
the F bomb.
hilarious.
She didn't use that. That was me, and I kind of stole that shtick from Space Ice. He's a YouTuber, but yeah, I use it quite a
But she, I
bit.
mean, basically just said kick rocks, and this
Right.
is not something I'm going to answer to, which is, for someone that's supposed to be a professional, knowing that he utilized, or you gave at least archival data, he used portions of it, you know,
Mhm.
even if she couldn't answer it, just from what I was able to read behind the blur, I was I was blown away. I said that the level of professionalism that this woman has is just lacking. Um, and it's sad that this is someone
Yeah, she
that,
could have answered the question
yeah, it
and
just
she just
answer the
didn't.
question or to the best of your ability. If you don't know, you don't know. But the way that it was, answered, it makes a difference. I want to read a comment right quick from Black Anonymous. She
Sure.
stated, and shout out to you, Black Anonymous. Umar Johnson was never licensed, and the state of Pennsylvania told him he can never get a license. So I saw two certifications, but that's what I was trying to see if you were aware,
Yeah. That's
if
outside
there
my
was any
realm.
licensure. Okay.
Yeah, I never dived into that,
Okay.
and I don't know how a state would tell somebody that you can never be licensed. How why would a state ever say that? I mean, you mean to tell me that if I don't go and get my doctorate and do things right, I can? Yeah, I don't know. But again, I didn't dive into that too much, so I could be wrong.
Okay. That's no problem. And of course, there Black Anonymous comment, there are levels
Okay,
of differences between being certified and licensed. And
could be a
that,
semantic
I
issue.
mean, yeah, I mean, the in various fields, there could, I mean, there's a difference in being, a fully licensed medical physician versus a physician's assistant, right? Or,
Mhm,
a full judge versus, a judicial officer. It could make a difference in, the what you have the ability to practice and do. So a
mhm,
PA, of course, or an NP, a nurse practitioner, you know, they don't have the full credentials as a full medical physician, although, they can write prescriptions. They do have to get an MD, but they still need some sort of supervision from a medical physician. So I think even in the field that in psychology, there would be variations, of what he could be credentialed and licensed to do. That's
yeah.
just kind of my understanding of that. And as far as I know, there is a difference between being certified and licensed.
You're
And
probably
that's,
right. I'm not a
yeah.
psychologist, and I also never really dived into that arena of Umar's background.
Hmm.
I kind of concentrated
Okay.
on his academic thing, but
Right. Absolutely.
mhm.
So
We
we're
have
in the
another one here.
second video here, and you can just kind of go through and
Sure.
just kind of let us know what you were focused on in the part two of this
Mhm.
dissertation that sucked real bad.
Well, first of all, that was where we introduced the fact that we thought that Thomas Smith was the data source.
Hmm.
Also, I kind of noted that Umar has a real burr under his saddle about the word black. He he really does not like that term. And so to him, it's African American. And he spells out exactly why, okay? Because he
Okay.
has this thing about the continent of Africa and how it's a special place. And if you come from the continent, then you have, certain characteristics that separate you from the rest, okay?
Hmm.
And black is to him, like that's what the Europeans called, you know, um, African Americans when they first saw them. So that's a almost like a denigration, right? So he does
Okay.
not like
Yeah.
the word black, and therefore uses that word African American. But that's also important is he uses the word European American because if you're going to use
Hmm.
African American, you're not going to use white for Caucasians. So he uses the
Wow.
term European American, and that's going to cause some problems a little later here. And I'm going to point that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
the other thing is noted that he had a ton of he has almost certainly a ton of special ed students in that classroom that are
Hmm.
filling out emotional support data. You have to know how many special ed students and you have to be able to aggregate them out.
Right.
And
Right.
he didn't do it or she didn't do it. We don't know because they won't tell us who did what, right?
Right.
But,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, you're doing a study on self concept and you have after you have special ed students that are classified according to emotional support. You have to disaggregate them out. You have to
Exactly.
treat them separately, and they never did. That's just
Yeah.
science 101,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um,
That, I mean, and we have to, distinguish, we're talking about, you know, variation of age groups, gender, nationalities. If you're dealing with science and medicine, is there some sort of medical history? Genetically speaking, what's the history like on the mother side or versus the father side? You know, a lot of those factors weigh in when you're talking about, like clinical research and testing in that field. So for him to not have you talking about just boys versus girls here, are we talking about just an all
yeah,
black school? Were there any other race or
it was all
nationality of
black.
students in this?
Well, it was all
So it
black
was
in the
all
study.
black,
Yeah,
and some that were on an IEP or special education type of program.
but you read here, it says, however, all participants will be correctly identified as African American. So when the student said they were black, he's correcting them. No, that's not right. You're really African American. So that's a pretty strong statement. It shows a very strong bias in
Right.
the way he treats vocabulary, but that's going to rear its ugly head here a little bit later. Um, the other one is that
Hmm.
they asked a bunch of open-ended questions that were just absolutely abysmal. I don't know. It must
Hmm.
have been Thomas Smith's questions. I'm assuming that she delivered them. Otherwise, it was not archival, and they were terrible. They were. I mean,
They were awful.
anybody looking
Yeah.
at that could have seen. You can't
Right.
ask these questions as they are phrased. But keep in mind, she only has an
Hmm.
EDD. That's not exactly like prime hunt, training
Exactly.
ground for a
Doctorate level for
top-notch
psychology.
scientist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, I mean, like, to example, Shaquille O'Neal didn't even have to write a thesis. Do you know what his dissertation topic was?
What was it? I don't know.
Uh, the role of humor in leadership. And so he asked 7 corporate people how they used humor in the office, and that was it. And he
The
presented
role
it
of
verbally.
humor in leadership. Wait
Yeah. How do you use jokes to get your point across? And they just gave him an EDD. And by the way, they flew his they flew his professors out to LA to teach him, which is a gross violation. That's an ethics violation if there ever was. You're giving a gift to a faculty member who's going to be grading you. Really? you
Oh
know,
my
and
god.
then afterwards, the president of the college, just some little small private place, said it was the best thing we ever did. Man, we got a lot of good PR out of this.
I have to watch those videos.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah. I mean,
my.
you go to my video, go to my channel, Shaquille O'Neal, the dissertation one. It's a blast. Now I like
I
Shaquille
will.
actually. I mean, to me, he's actually a really good guy. But
He's funny too.
oh, he's
I can't
hilarious.
imagine him being serious with you talking about a dissertation. This is a dissertation. You have to it's only as serious as he takes it. And it
Yeah,
seemed like he translated his I just the idea of having this, you know, fallback degree or some sort of fallback education plan. And it's still okay. Why not just do something business related, you know,
yeah,
or something in finance or economics? I just humor in the corporate setting. Okay, all right,
yeah.
all right,
Number
Shaq.
one here, the question: how has being black affected your performance in school? A student who
Hmm.
hasn't thought about that yet now is thinking about it. So
Right,
you have to be kind of careful of these questions. That's why we have
right,
IRBs, right?
right. And
Yeah,
Jay
I wonder
Witt,
if it's
shout
source.
out to Jay Witt asking, I wonder if his source needed to give her IRB number. What do you
That's a
think?
good question, and I don't know because I've never encountered this
Okay.
before, where somebody just takes somebody else's data and just publishes it in
Yes.
a dissertation. Um, I
Right.
would assume that somewhere along the line, you've got to identify that somebody has approved this, right? But
Right. And so, and I have a question too about the first two questions here. So to me, I just felt those questions. And shout out to you, writer Albert Lanier. You're asking some great questions and leaving some great comments. Um, and I'll get to that one in a second. But I before I forget, these two questions, the first two are just flat out leading. I
Oh,
think
sure.
when it comes to
It's called
children,
loaded question, right? Loaded question.
yes, yes, and
Mhm.
these loaded questions, it's not something even as a parent. I'm not reemphasizing to my son. You know you're black, right? You know you're black, right? You know you're black. Most kids either want to do well or they might not really have to strive to want to excel in school. Like they might not because of laziness or they just don't want to do homework. But most kids want to get good grades. But I don't recall ever teaching my kids or pushing the idea that them being black somehow is going to affect their performance in class. I've never ever taught to my kids about doing well in school because they're black. I just want them to do well in school because I want them to strive and be successful, graduate, get good grades, go to college, not because they're black. It's not the first thing that I bring up. So maybe I'm wrong, but what is I mean, how do
Well,
you
these
how does
these are
those two
loaded
questions affect
questions.
just these kids in general?
Yeah. To answer the first question, for example, you have to accept the premise that being black does affect your performance, and now you're asked how. But that's not a
Mhm.
given. A student might not
Exactly.
feel it has any bearing at all, but now you
Right.
have the student thinking about it. Um,
Right.
these are very amateurish questions.
Mhm.
It's almost like they were written up in 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
now notice use of the
Yeah.
word black. So this
Yes.
is not Umar. Umar would have used how has being African American
American.
affect,
Exactly.
right? So I believe that Thomas Smith, if she's the one that actually provided the data, and I'm sure she is, I believe that she wrote those and then delivered them to the classroom.
Wow. And he just took the questions, he didn't read them because
Yeah,
like you
I
said,
mean,
he would have been kind of offended almost at seeing the word black, would he not? I mean,
well,
considering his
yeah,
use of African American.
but he has to accept the word black when it's convenient because otherwise he would run in. What's he going to do? Not take the data and not get his DDD or PsyD? No, he's stuck with it.
Mhm.
I mean, keep in mind when he came around, this thing was already done, so it is what it is. So he's
Right.
kind of stuck with it. I'm sure he grimaced, right?
Oh my god. And
Mhm.
you would think he could, well, let me ask this. Could he have changed the question instead of having black, just maybe put African American in the parentheses? That way he's not editing out the word and changing the original questions, but just
Well,
emphasizing kind of, or not alter. I don't want to say alter because it wouldn't make it archival data if he altered it like this, would it?
Well, it would be archival data was extremely misleading, and
Okay.
he could have put African American in brackets to
Right.
note that
That's what I was
the
asking.
term
Okay.
that was used was not African American. He could have
Mhm.
done that. I think he just didn't think of it.
Okay.
You
I
know, I mean,
personally, I don't think he read these questions. I think he just stuck it in there because he saw qualitative responses. And
mhm.
I don't think he went past the title.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to give a shout out, if I can, right quick to Lene Staggs. How you doing? Shout out to you. She stated, "Oh, I teach them their history if you've been to all white school, if it matters psychologically." Yeah, and I mean, my kids have been to mixed schools, but I think the idea of the children just performing well in school, for me, and I can just speak to me and as a mom of two African American boys, I would not come at it directly from the angle of because you're black. It was, I want you to do well because you need to know math. You need to be able to pass the class and get good grades. You need to, have a decent GPA, depending on what you want to do after college. I mean, after high school, you want to go to college, or if you want to go into the workforce, you need to have that education. And so, what Johnny is saying here with the first two questions are, loaded questions. They're leading, and most, on average, children, especially in an all black school, you know, they're not striving to do well because they're black, and they're not being taught that in the schools. either, even for a majority black school. It's not the first thing that the teacher's going to say. You guys need to make all A's because all of you are black. No, you need to make all A's because you need to excel and do well so that you can pass the class.
Mhm.
The performance is solely due to the idea that the need that the children need to do well and succeed. And that is what should be at the forefront. Do we neglect the fact that we want young, our young African American men to be smart and successful? No, we don't neglect that. But I don't want any child to fail regardless of race. And that's how I grew up. And I went to majority black schools. I went to an HBCU, and I still, in my mind, that is at the forefront. This is just about a matter of being successful and having, the ability to pass your grades, pass your classes and get good grades. Even graduating, being a Spelma alumna, I still don't want my children to fail because I just don't want them to fail. But yeah, history and knowing where they come from and reemphasizing,
Well,
being
let me give you an
educated
example.
is important. Go ahead.
I'm, I'm Scottish. Okay. So yeah, it's good for me to learn about the Scots. I enjoy it. It's a
Mhm.
very rich history,
Absolutely.
and I think it's kind of important to me to some extent. And the Scots have had Nobel Prize winners. We've done some great things, but none of it teaches me math. And
Right.
I don't understand, and I would love for somebody to come along and provide me the mechanism for which knowing your cultural background makes you a better mathematician.
Right.
Um, I mean, okay, maybe increasing your self-esteem so that you try harder, maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't see the effect there being very large.
Right.
And
And
but
it just
but
feeds into
Umar, it
stereotypes
doesn't.
almost. He
Yeah.
feeds into Umar's feeds into stereotypes. To me, he's racist. I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
saying it.
Well,
I think
he's a
Umar
black.
is a very racist person, but he feeds into a lot of the stereotypes as well.
Yeah, he's a black supremacist. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's just more than
Yeah.
racist. I mean, it's all
Mhm.
about, elevating the the African continent above all other or whatever. I don't know. It's really strange. I've listened to him talk to small groups, and it it's almost like he's just like a black clan member.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's hard to
yeah.
I do understand it's like a what do you call, and it's not to attack the whole group, but some members of the black Israelites
Mhm.
have that sort of that Afrocentric mindset where they 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 disrespect every other race, and especially Caucasians, and they're absolute right, they're racist. They discriminate based on skin color, based on uh ethnicity. And it embeds deep. And
Yeah.
I think Umar hit the way he goes about it. It's almost like a showmanship for him, because when he goes home, he has no problem entertaining the idea of dating a woman that is not, African American. He always talks about the snow bunnies never, but yeah, he will date a Caucasian woman. It's He's taking photos with them. Like, if he truly despised Caucasian women, he would not want to even stand next to them. But it seems like he says these things because he thinks that that's what black people want to hear, and it's not. It just amplifies, you know,
Well,
the
some do.
rhetoric.
Yeah, some do though.
The ones who are, yes, they want to hear that.
Rashad Ritchie
But
also appeals to this, and they went on a
yeah,
trip to Cairo, and Rashad used his quantum mechanics to show that on a mummy that Egyptians were black. I mean, I'm not joking. He actually made that claim.
oh my goodness,
So yeah, we got it to Rashad. But
oh my
there is
goodness,
a
yes,
segment of the population though that wants to hear it, and they are more than willing to fork over their money
yes,
to somebody who it's the same in the white population, right? You get
Right.
the
Right.
white supremacists, and they're going to have their little
Right.
enclaves and things like that, and they'll get donations. They tend to not be as visible on
Hmm.
YouTube and stuff as on the black supremacists. But yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
well, let's go ahead
Agreed.
and move a little bit forward,
Sure. And
because
now
I
you
would
want to
like
move
to show.
to part three.
Yeah, let's go to video 3.
Okay. And here we go.
Yeah, and then we got the response from Thomas Smith. That's where she said, "Just ask the school. I'm not going to get involved in this." Right. So there's the first. And by the way, Brian Turner was the one that asked her. I tend to take credit for some things that some of my compadres do, and I have to correct myself. I mean, it's just the way I
No,
talk
it's
sometimes.
okay. It's okay.
But PhD, I'm sorry, fake PhD investigator is my buddy on this. The man is a hound. Man,
Oh,
he
wow.
dives in.
Good.
So he will be doing the calling people and stuff like that and emailing people. And I tend to shy away from it. But
Good.
if you get fake PhD investigator on your ass, oh man. It's,
I think, and that's what I asked. I did a post and I asked, for every degree, because we all know Umar doesn't have a whole lot of degrees. He's compounding dual degrees and certifications, and he's calling everything a degree, right? But I said for every degree he claims to have at these various schools, how would you all feel about me getting the dissertations to accompany them? Because he should naturally, you know, have these dissertations in order as a requirement to graduate and get these degrees. So let's fact check him on that. So
mhm.
that's what why I asked, hey, if you want, I can get the dissertations and send them over to you. Shout out to Jay Witt, my brother in Christ, Lennon, and you guys can break these down
Oh yeah.
because it's the only way to really put a check on him, to fact check him with these so-called degrees that he claims to have. We know he doesn't have them, but
Well,
someone new who doesn't know him probably would believe that,
I want to
and
be
his
careful.
cult does.
I want to be careful. Um, Umar, as far as his PsyD, he
Hmm.
completed the coursework, although I'm pretty sure that he probably begged and begged for people to do his work
Right,
for him, right? He did
right.
write, he did submit, I don't know if he wrote it, but he did submit a PsyD dissertation and it was signed and he turned it in to the library. So he has completed
Wow,
the requirements to have a PsyD. However, he can lose
wow.
it if they find that he has been nefarious in his ways. And that's what I'm working on. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people
Yes,
have been asking me, well, can he lose his doctorate? Yes,
yes, he
technically
can.
they
Hmm.
can.
Hmm.
But he's working in the social sciences, and the social sciences tends to sheer they take the path of least resistance, right? And to them,
Okay.
it's better if it just probably just go away. Now, we did have a physicist who faked his data long after he got his PhD. And in physics, they don't screw around. So they not only fired him, but they
Mhm.
took away his PhD. They stripped it from him. And the PhD had nothing to do with the fraud that he was doing years later, but they just took it from him anyway. So he
So
he ends up with being a lab rat somewhere.
right. So let me ask you this. I mean, we see on the cover here, it's the College of Osteopathic Medicine, right? And
Right.
psychology being a branch of, medicine is, of course, dealing with behavioral medicine. Would would it be difficult for them to revocate his doctorate degree in
I
psychology?
have never heard of it happening. Um,
Huh.
there's another one, a psychologist by the name of Eric Stewart,
Okay.
who faked his data. His graduate students found out, and they were co-authors, and they're like, "Oh no, this data
Oh no.
that my name's on was been
Right.
totally fabricated." And who do you think they went after? They went after the graduate students. And these
Are you
guys were
kidding?
corrupt. Oh no, I mean it was bad. So finally, it got so bad that years later they finally fired Eric Stewart, but he kept his PhD. Right.
Get
So
out of here.
no, there's a lot of really bad things that go on out there. David Baltimore, who was a Nobel Prize winning biologist,
Mhm.
he his graduate student was faking the numbers, writing them down, just making them up. And they went
Mhm.
in and they looked at the very rightmost numbers in the data. Those have to be random. And they ran
Mhm.
statistical analysis and found that number two was showing up too often. So they
Wow.
confronted her, they fired her, and then she became a professor at Tufts University. So
Oh my
they
god.
don't always pay the price, right? But no, in the hard
Oh my
sciences, physics,
goodness.
engineering, um, chemistry, they don't play around. They will knock the crap out of you if you make these mistakes. But as you get
Right.
into the softer sciences, it's and I
It
know that
seems
some
like
social scientists
it.
will disagree with me, and I appreciate that. I mean, maybe I have it wrong, but I
Well,
don't
I
believe
have
I
to
do.
look into that because, considering the fact that he was willing just on a certification to try to diagnose a child. And
Oh boy,
good, we all know how dangerous that can be. What if he continued on that path and he continued to misdiagnose children here? And you're
did you?
talking about the children that may or may not be need to be on a special education program, or him having dangerous making very dangerous statements about, well, if your child has a special education, don't put them on it, take them off. If they come to my school, you know, don't follow, basically don't follow what, people who are certified and licensed to do. Don't follow their plan. Just take them off. Don't. And it's dangerous. It's like saying to someone, don't take your, prescription medication, even though a licensed physician prescribed it to you to take it and it's life saving. So
Well, did you
under
see
that context, would it could be questioned?
his advice to parents of suicidal children?
No, I haven't
Oh
seen it.
boy.
Oh my goodness. How much do I
Oh my
need to
god.
brace myself for that? Am I
Yeah.
gonna yell and scream at the computer if I see this? Oh
His
no.
advice his advice
Oh
was that
no.
if you feel they're faking it, threaten them with um a trip down to the psychologist and an overnight stay like that, and they'll quit doing that. Um honor
Is it serious?
Yeah, Honor Lenore, was it Honor Lennon? He played it on
Lennon Honor?
his, and I
Here's
actually
a
have
video.
a video on it myself. So, but yeah, he basically, the advice was threaten those kids so they quit faking it. And yeah,
What? Oh, we're gonna have to check that out after
yeah,
this.
do
Oh
that.
my god, that's so dangerous.
By the way, on the notice here on the questionnaire they handed out, the
Mhm.
first item has got no number on it. So I guess was that zero?
Appendix A, what am I like? Yeah, no, they don't.
Number zero, I guess, I suppose.
You think
Um,
this is why I asked about the formatting here, because yeah,
oh,
no, this would
I
not
don't
have
know what they
flown.
were thinking.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know what style of formatting this was supposed to be in, because even
Well,
tables supposed to have a certain formatting as
I
a
mean, look
part
at
of
those
it.
squares, and they only show up in the first two. They're supposed to show up, and why didn't the graduate committee look and say, "Look, you got a problem with your formatting. Can you go back and clean that up?" But they didn't
That's what I
even
said.
notice it.
I said, I don't know.
So,
Did my video. I said, I don't know if this is APA
yeah,
or what is this?
okay. So, by
This
the
is
way, this is called
garbage.
the harder SPPC inventory. This is the
Okay.
basis for his quantitative data. Now, this
Okay.
was administered by Thomas Smith, we think. So
Hmm.
the kids fill it out. I actually tried to fill it out myself and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I don't know how a inner city fifth grader is going to do it, but okay, maybe I'm
I
dumb.
know, right?
Um,
No, oh
but
man,
that
he's
harder
dumb.
SPPC inventory is going to be very interesting here in a little bit. So when we get to it,
Okay.
um, oh, and I guess I should mention the harder SPC inventory has been used a lot. Okay,
Okay.
it's valid and reliable, although Umar never bothers to talk about that, which is critical. But it's been used a lot. But it didn't have the questions that Umar wanted. Umar wants questions that point to racial pride. And so all of a sudden, if you go to the appendix, we'll show it later.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
there's questions added on, and these are called hope and culture. I think you remember that.
I do, and oh my goodness, I have to ask. I have to ask because I mentioned this in the reaction video here. What I'm just gonna assume hope and culture scales is not a real scale. It could be those two words could be replaced with chicken and macaroni and cheese. Like those two words could be anything. Am I wrong to assume that?
Well, it reads right here. Hope and culture scales,
Home
which
and
were
culture skills.
created by the researcher. So it was something that we fabricated,
Just wanted to make sure.
and there was like 7 questions each, which were recalled about 5 times because he's trying to make the dissertation big, right? So he's repeating stuff all the time to make it fatter.
Oh my
Another
god.
common trait of bad dissertations. But he goes on these hope and culture scales, and these are the questions that were added to an existing inventory to get those responses that he loves. But here's the problem. Oh, this is where it gets really nasty. Who
Okay.
created them? It just says here were created by the researcher. Well, is that Umar or is that Thomas
Was it
Smith?
Thomas?
Well,
Maybe that's why she didn't want to answer because she knows these aren't real scales.
well, and keep in mind, there's a difference between a scale and a prompt. And so they're using the word scale here, I think incorrectly, but they don't do anything right. So
Because I
yeah,
mean, that would be something measurable. You know, if you're talking about a scale, we're talking about something that's measurable. So it's, you know, I mean, it could be the peas and carrots scale. I mean, it's
here's a lot
love
of
and hate.
problems. But
I just can't
here's
believe it.
something, and this is a tip for all people who are going to be undergoing some research. You have an existing inventory, a tool that has been used and it has been
Mhm.
validated and it's reliable. You got the studies that confirm that Umar never cited. Okay.
Right.
You can't just add things onto it.
You
And the
can't.
reason
It's
why
not
is because now you don't know if they're valid and reliable anymore because it's bigger.
exactly.
But there's another problem. You only have 15 minutes to explain the survey and for the students to complete it. And you've just added 14 more questions. So are the students even going to have time to complete the thing? Well, these are the
Oh
things you have
my
to about.
god.
And an IRB might have been able to spot that problem and say, look, I don't think you can deliver this in 50 minutes, right? Because remember,
Right.
keep in mind, these are 5th through 8th grade inner city kids, and a lot of them are special ed. So
Right.
they even mentioned that they had to read the prompts to the students so that they understood, and they're going to
Right.
read 51 items.
Oh my goodness. And
So they
probably
would
would
have burned
not
up,
be understanding of the questions either
yeah.
way
So they
that are
burned up
loaded.
probably 15 minutes of the 15 minutes just explaining what the survey was. So I
What
would have
in the
loved to have been
world?
in that room to watch that because, and by the way, and there's another problem with this. If you are also giving out qualitative, remember they had to
Right.
do they had to do not only the harder but also the qualitative answers in the same session.
Right.
But what happens is that the better readers get done sooner, and
Mhm.
they have more time to respond to the qualitative. You're
Right.
oversampling them.
Right.
That's something you got to think about.
Exactly. Because I was about to
And
ask,
then the-
wouldn't that taint the actual uh the responses itself if the kids aren't they're not genuinely answering it because they probably aren't even able to get through most of the
yeah,
questions, and the questions that they're answering, you know, if they're not loaded, then they're not even a part of the original inventory, so it sullies the end result.
yeah, yeah. I
And,
mean,
I
it's
mean
a problem.
it's just but
Now,
there's
what
nothing
you
to
often
compare it against us to see that, you know.
what you can do is mix up the order for each batch so that the questions aren't in the same order, so that you
Okay.
don't end up with just the same questions, students just marking off because only got 3 minutes.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yeah. And you just kind
Um,
of BBB,
but
CCC, or check, 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 no check. And you know, it's not it's no different than having an ABCD selection and then all the kids are just circling in B because they're not reading the question and they don't care if they get it right or wrong. They just want to complete it. But
right,
hence
and
that
keep in
that
mind,
sullies the qualitative analysis of it
if
all.
you want to see dishonesty, and I wouldn't even
Mhm.
call it dishonesty because I don't think the students are obligated to be honest. But they
Yeah.
ask demographic questionnaires is, well, um, what about your father's? What is his job? Well, these are inner city students. A lot of them
Right.
don't have fathers. We know that and I ran through the statistics on it. It turns out
Uh-huh.
that most of the kids in that class wouldn't even know who their father is, and they're being asked to tell what he does for a living.
Oh
Well,
my good
so
Lord.
a student would write maybe like, "I don't know," but that's embarrassing. So what did they write? They faked it. They just wrote down,
Yeah.
"Yeah, he's a policeman," or whatever.
My
So,
goodness.
and by the way, I want to make it sure these kids are
Mhm.
not obligated to be honest. They
They're not.
they have no obligation to the reviewer, to the researcher. So
And
it's
yep,
not dishonesty as far as I'm concerned. You know, they don't have to be honest with you. You're asking
exactly.
them personal questions. Who, why are they obligated to tell you the answers?
Exactly.
So
And
at
that's
any rate,
once again, it
but
just sullies the results that they get. And it just, if the kids aren't going to be honest, the answering these questions here, some of which I've never seen questions that any child, what am I like? What I am like. You're having kids describe themselves, and they may not even fully be able to do that with some of these questions either way. um it is already tainting the results, and it just checking off a box. Really true for me, sort of true, sort of not true. What,
I don't even know
how
how to
was this
complete it.
even crafted? How was this crafted?
I don't know. I tried to figure it out. They have an explanation, which is not very good. I don't know what the instructions were to the students to complete it, but I tried to figure it out, and I don't
This
know. And
is
I'm not certain a fifth
nothing new.
grade special ed student in an inner city school is going to be able to figure it out. And by the way, people sometimes say, "Well, inner city, what are you saying there, Johnny?" Look, if this was an Appalachian rural school, it'd be the same. A
Yeah,
fifth grader in West Virginia out in the boonies
right.
and lives in a single wide, they're going to struggle just as much.
Yes.
It's
It's
poverty,
yeah,
and these kids are disadvantaged. They don't have the resources around them. So how well are they really expected to do?
right.
Um,
I mean, and I think the word, the even the race here, as far as blacks, could be replaced with Hispanics. It could be replaced with Caucasians, and it wouldn't change. Like,
no,
the end result would still be, I learned nothing from this dissertation. And it was just, I mean, the format, the questions, the archival data, it's just, I mean, if all you changed was black to Hispanic, would it be any different? The end result would still be the same. This
yeah.
dissertation was awful. It
Oh,
was just
it's
awful.
and the worst part of it is that any reasonable advisor,
Mhm.
graduate committee member could have sat down and said, "Look, we got some issues here, Umar,"
Right.
but nobody did.
Yeah.
And or there's another possibility, and this is one that could very well be the case. They
Mhm.
did, and Umar turned around and said, "I'm going to sue you if you don't give me my dissertation."
On
And
what
that has
ground?
been done before. Now, when I was an undergrad,
Uh-huh.
there was a graduate student who threatened to sue his graduate committee if they didn't let him defend. And the court said, "You got to let him defend if he wants to." And so he did, and they
You're
failed him.
kidding.
How
You
stupid can you be? Like, I'm going to sue you unless you let me go up there and defend and fail me. But yeah,
anyway.
so but that was weird. I mean, you almost never fail a dissertation defense, at least not in the hard sciences, because you only get one chance. In the hard sciences, if you fail, you're gone. They'll actually
Yeah.
disenroll you. But in
Yeah,
the
they
softer
should.
sciences, you can actually try again. Um,
Oh
but
my god.
whatever the
And
case,
then, I mean, if he's, ever forced to explain this dissertation, the data, the results, even the questions and the formatting of it, I can imagine just a bunch of word salad and him being offensive at people asking him questions, not because he feels that the questions are out of pocket, simply because he's being asked questions or being asked to explain 8 or 9 pages of garbage. So he had no thought or concern when he put it together. And if this is one of the prerequisites to getting a degree,
mhm.
I mean, the three advisors should have their degrees challenged. I mean, they should definitely be under some investigation here. And by the way, I emailed the school and directed the attention of the email to those three advisors, one of which is the
Mhm.
dean, and
Yeah.
no response to this very day. I have not received a response.
And by the way,
None.
there should be 5 advisors with 1 an external. If you really want to
Wow.
have a real doctoral committee, what's this 3 advisor thing? Come on, that's a
Exactly.
master's thesis, right?
Exactly.
And that 5th person who's supposed to be away from your department serves an
Mhm.
important purpose to keep this kind of stuff from
Stuff from
happening,
happening.
right? Because
Exactly.
the education, my and on my uh, dissertation, I had somebody from the business department, and if they see
Mhm.
something really funny, they'll make a note of that, and so it keeps everybody honest. 3 people, oh gosh!
Yeah.
And by the way, the deal with Rashad is even worse. Oh my
Oh my
god!
goodness.
They
Do we
didn't.
have to go out?
We got it. Yeah, we'll do it later.
It
But
sounds
man,
like we're gonna
oh,
be I'm gonna be
isn't this
laughing.
child's play? This is child's play.
This
Um,
broke my. I had a headache for a day, like hours, and then even Jay Witt, when he called me, he said, "Did you read that dissertation?" I said, "Yes." It's so dumb. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe this, and I said, "I expect something, for a doctorate dissertation to, in psychology at that, and you're talking about children to be way more profound." This was I could have sworn I saw some of the citing the references to be images like photos. Did I miss
yeah.
that? Did I just pick that? Is that me that picked that up? I could have sworn he cited photographs or African American images.
I'm not sure. I don't think I remember seeing that. So I
Oh
don't know. You
man,
got me on that one. Can we back up to number
sure,
45?
okay. Uh, there we go. Let's go back, and I'll pause it here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Read number 45. Some black kids think they could have done better in school had they known more about their black history and culture. How would they know if they don't know it?
exactly,
So a student
exactly.
has no chance of being able to respond to this, right? Um, I can't tell you if I would do better until I find out what it is I'm missing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just
And
like
then
even the question above it loaded. If
mhm.
some kids don't think they can do well in school because they're black. Okay, so did we not see that question almost in a
Yeah,
just a
it's
little bit reworded from the open-ended 6 questions?
we did. But I want you to read number 46 and tell me if you
Oh
see
yeah.
something strange.
So we have here some kids think being black being black makes them inferior to European American students. So now we see the word
Who wrote this?
European American students.
Who wrote this question?
It has to be Umar. This
But
is
he
an
can't.
Umar thing.
But he can't. See, here's the problem. This is supposed to be archival.
It
This was
should be.
supposed to be
That's
data
yeah.
given to him. If he wrote that, and look, I mean, European American students instead of
Unbelievable.
white, right? Um,
Right.
if he wrote that and he didn't get IRB approval, that's a crime. That might be
Wow.
criminal. So the problem is, if he wrote that,
Hmm.
how did he deliver to the students? Given that this took place before he started his dissertation defense, he was not involved
He
in the
wasn't.
actual data collection. So,
Not at all.
how did this question get to the students if he wrote it? So, that was the reason why he sent the
Yeah.
email, and you saw it. I'm asking Thomas Smith, did the harder inventory that you delivered to students have these questions on there? If she did, then I would
Mm.
like to know what her IRB is. And if it didn't,
Yeah.
then how did Umar get the data to report if she didn't give it to him? We'll talk about that here in a moment.
Okay,
'Cause
so we would have
you'll
to
see where
definitely
I'm
get a.
going. But
We have to.
does this look like Umar talking?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
And that, I
absolutely.
mean, if the fact that if he did this, he would lie. Just the deception of it in and of itself, it just reinforces what we know about him. The
Mhm.
fact that he would be so willing to be this deceptive. And to add these weird questions in here that he knows he should not be altering this information.
If you're smart and you think, if I put European American, people might
Mhm.
realize that I wrote it. I better use black, right? I better use
You
black this
think you
time,
just
or
be
white. I'm sorry,
consistent
white.
with it.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'll use white because, but he's so driven politically that he can't. He has
Yeah.
to use European American. And by the way, this is going to be administered to fifth graders in an inner city classroom, and you're
Right.
using European American instead of white. So what about
Yeah.
readability? I mean,
Exactly.
a lot of
Yep.
students, and even if they could read it, a lot of students are not going to make the connection that, oh, they're talking about white people,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. The
European American,
relatability. There you go.
right?
Yep.
So y- you would not use European American. And by the way, Thomas Smith is a principal, or was an assistant principal at an elementary school. They use white all the time in all their census stuff. She would
Exactly.
not use European American. That would be
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. No one says that. I mean, it's not part of our average dialect and our normal speaking pattern. We don't we say black, we say white. If we're trying to be politically correct, we still say Caucasian. You barely hear European American. You just barely hear that, even if you're trying to be politically correct. So
Well,
the
and
fact
you
that he would
usually
go
only
out of
hear
his way to put this in here is just absurd.
and you usually are going to see that used when there's a distinction between European American and maybe Russian continent American, or something,
Right.
right? It's not going to be used in the context of culture. And
Exactly.
so, yeah, I think having
Yeah.
European American teachers helps. How would the student know? They,
Exactly. Exactly.
so
It's just, I
we'll
mean,
have to come back to
it
that, though.
doesn't even fit inside of these questions. And you see black, 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 you know, and then you get European American. It's just, it should have stood out to the advisors, and it's obvious they didn't even read the questions, because they would have talked about, well, you got check mark boxes missing, so or numbering that's missing or
Mhm.
off. I mean,
So,
that would have stood out.
and the thing about it is, you're using black kids, so why wouldn't you use white
My
kids?
kids,
And
right,
now, why use black? Well, the rest of the harder had the black in it, so they're kind of
right,
stuck with that.
right.
But yeah, European American is a real giveaway, in my opinion. Now, I could be
And I
wrong.
saw
I
Asian
want to be
kids
careful.
here, so they weren't, you know, being cautious like they. You see how they inferior to Asian kids, Asian students.
Mhm.
Well, I
And,
just, Caucasian kids would have, flowed if you want to just be consistent with this, but it just, it's an ice, it sticks out like a sore thumb. It
yeah,
screams,
and
it just screams Umar.
by the way, there are probably no Asian kids at this school, so I'm not sure that
So I
the
put
kids
that
would
in
even
there.
know. And also no mention of Hispanic. So if you're going to
Not
mention
at all.
white and Asian, well, why are you not asking also about Hispanic kids? Of course, that would have probably taken 2 hours by the time we've already made this thing long enough, right? So I think
Right.
we're ready to go ahead and play video 4 now, because it's got some
Okay,
really good ones.
let's get to it. So I'm gonna turn on the sound, and you guys let me know if you can see and hear. Put a one in the chat. We're all gonna watch this video together. Let's go.
This is the fourth and probably last video on Umar Johnson's wacky PsyD dissertation. However, tomorrow night, that's Saturday, September 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be guesting on Lady Luck Club's live stream to discuss his dissertation some more. And I will have some new takes that are pretty damning. I would have placed them in this video, but that would make it too long. So why not perform the big reveal on her show? Should be fun. Again, that's tomorrow night, Saturday, September 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello out there. I am trying to get
You
through.
want me to pause?
You could probably
Thank
advance it.
you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, trying to raise up, audience numbers.
Thank you. All right, let's get back to it.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's The Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Just as a note, I'm going to be referring to she throughout this video because I'm pretty sure Tamara Thomas Smith was the one that conducted this study. One more thing, I want to warn those commenting below that I'm going to be referring to the low academic performance of inner city kids. Do not misconstrue my thoughts into thinking that I'm going to cheer you on if you post racist comments. So let's take a look at the results on page 28. Math scores were fairly evenly distributed among students. Nearly 19% earned an A and over 20% earned a B. And I'm telling you right now that there is no way that an inner city classroom featured nearly half of the students earning an A or a B in mathematics. And notice what's missing. No Fs.
Not at all.
No Fs. There are no Fs in math, science, reading, or social studies. And while there are no Fs in writing, less than 6% scored a D. So 94% of the 101 students across 4 grade levels scored at least a C in writing skills. Take a look at science. No Fs and fewer than 9% Ds. In the inner city of Philadelphia? So how well did students do statewide on the state science test? Well, for 8th graders, barely half scored at grade level. But that's statewide. This is an inner city school in Philadelphia, where the results in this dissertation show that well over 50% scored an A or B, with over a quarter earning an A. This is no reflection on the researcher. This is just raw grade inflation on part of the teachers. I just thought you might find that interesting. I find this funny. The age.
It is interesting, and I'll pause it here so you can give commentary.
It's grade inflation because the teachers just don't want those kids again, right? It's like, if I fail them, they're going to be in my classroom next year. And like, so it's a social promotion type thing. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to add
that. No, you're fine. Just let me know whenever you want to pause. And I mean, that happens. You've had, schools to, be, to have teachers and staff and principals be charged with, inflating test scores and those types of things. So I mean, talking about branching into a criminal matter if they flat out lie
also,
about these test
if you
scores.
give a little Jimmy an F, you're dealing with Jimmy's parents. And
that too. Yep. And it's just sad because you want your child to learn the subject matter. If they fail, they just have to retake the class or take summer school. So, but yeah, we can continue on.
Range span from 10 years old, which makes sense because the lower grade in the study is 5th grade, to 16 years old, which is odd because the highest grade is only 8th grade. The kid can drive to school. You had a 16-year-old 8th grader and 4 15-year-olds.
What?
Well, now, Johnny, they might have been held back.
How? The school doesn't give out Fs, remember? And yes, he should have started a new paragraph here. We have around 30 of the students claiming their father had completed high school, while nearly 40% had no idea. This is exactly the kind of data that has to be disaggregated according to age, because I can believe a 10-year-old not knowing if his father has a high school diploma, but a 16-year-old? You might say, Johnny, you're being too harsh. Breaking the data out would make for a giant paragraph. Gee, isn't that why we created tables? That would make it so much cleaner and easier to compare, and you wouldn't have to keep repeating earned a grade of, earned a grade of, earning a grade of, earning a grade of. And if you're wondering why some are cast in the past tense while others are cast in the present tense, it's called sloppy writing. Notice how uninviting this paragraph appears. Why didn't he place all this in a table? I'll tell you why. This is padding. He wants to string it all out so that it makes his dissertation look bigger. I also find the next section rather troubling, and not just because he once again should have started a new paragraph. According to the U.S. Census, 46.3% of Black children under 18 live only with their mother, while 8% don't live with either their mother or father. That's right, nearly 55% don't have a father in the house. That number is only going to be higher in the inner city classroom.
Right.
Yet, if you go to the demographics questionnaire handed out to the kids, it asks them for father's job and dad's highest level of education. A substantial majority of the kids in that classroom aren't going to know.
Once again, I just want to pause it to point out the horrible formatting and the grammar syntax
It's
in
just
a doctorate degree dissertation. Dear Lord, help us all. Okay, I'm sorry.
well. By the way, though, this would have been.
And
This is a case here where even though this is what was handed out, I would have reformatted it for my dissertation.
I think so. I mean, just put a space where it belongs. Is it too? I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at your commentary. Is hilarious. But is it too much to ask to have it formatted
Oh yeah.
consistently and evenly? It is ridiculous. This is
Well, and then
ridiculous.
remember, it, if you look at the questions or what the prompts here, this looks like it was written up in like a couple of minutes in a desperate move to get the thing done before they're going to deliver it. I don't know what happened, but evidently this is a last minute deal. That's why the
Yeah.
formatting is screwed up, and why you don't have check boxes, because check boxes take time to set up. Just
Right.
gender, right, and race and age and grade and religion and
It's
just
and they have to write this stuff in and be able to do it in how long? 15 minutes, you say?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
50 minutes. But keep in mind also race. What if the student writes Indian? Is that
Right.
American Indian or an Asian Indian?
Or they put African American and it doesn't go along with the actual hope and
Oh,
love
Umar corrects that.
scale.
Oh, you know.
I'm
So,
not- God. All right. We can get
but
back to
this
it.
is
This is
just
too
really
funny.
bad, right?
It is. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's a doctorate degree, you all. This is for a doctorate degree. All right. Keep that in mind.
What are they going to write down? It's embarrassing to write, I don't know. So many kids will just make something up. What's less embarrassing is a checkbox. Checkboxes, they're a good idea.
Yes.
On one line, the parent is described as father, but on another line, it's dad. And many are very poor readers, despite what grades they're given, with a substantial percentage in special ed. So, how many will be able to read extracurricular? Just say hobbies or fun things you like to do when not at school. Now,
Might as well.
this is not on Umar, but the original mysterious ghost researcher. Demographic questionnaires appear in just about every social studies program, so you'd think that this would be pretty safe. Just use what everyone else uses. But no, she had to be creative. But Umar's graduate committee should have noted that the demographic questionnaire had serious problems with it. This next sentence is on Umar. Reported occupations for mothers and fathers were very diverse and ranged from blue collar trade jobs to professional careers. This statement is worthless. I could make this claim in every research paper ever written. After all, it could mean that one student's mother was, say, a school teacher, while all the others were either blue collar or unemployed. Or it could mean that almost every mother was a white collar worker and only one or two were unemployed or blue collar workers. There's no way to tell. And by the way, unemployed is not mentioned here, but it's obviously a.
What are they classifying as blue collar? Because that's not notated on the question.
Well,
So
yeah, and
the
that's a
kid
judgment
is
call,
like,
right?
oh, government, federal, or military.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
You
didn't
can't
even
even be
catch that. But
specific.
that does cause some troubles, like postal worker, right? Well, okay, but it could be like she's the postmaster general.
Exactly. Or they put USPS. I mean, who knows what job position they hold? Would the average, you know, fifth grader know the exact job title
Yeah,
of their parents? Either
and
way, mother or father.
of what use is it? I mean,
Exactly.
you're catching this data for what purpose? Because you don't disaggregate the data out according to it. So this was just
Right.
like, oh, by the way, we found out that a large number of them work for the sanitation department. Gee, that's wonderful.
Right.
What am I
But I
supposed to
mean,
do with that?
if they put, what if they put the name of what if they put my parent works at a school and they just put name of the school?
Mhm.
Okay, so what if they're the principal? You can't say that they're a blue collar worker versus have a professional career if you have the kids putting the option to notate various types of job duties or the location, or they might not even know what kind of what kind of
Yeah,
percentage this
it's
scale is
garbage.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
Umar is
garbage.
a moron.
Factor. Let's see. Inner city school in Philadelphia. I wonder if all of the parents of these kids have jobs.
Thank
Here,
you.
the term diverse is empty, means nothing. If you're writing a research paper of any type, be careful about using such abstractions. Some and many are the worst offenders. They mean nothing. Many of the students reported being abused by their parents. Many? You mean
Oh my
half?
god.
Nearly all? What does that mean? If it's parental abuse and therefore a horrible thing, many could mean only three. Remember the saying, one is too many. The
Right.
original researcher relied on the Harder SPPC questionnaire, which immediately raises the question as to its reliability and validity. Those are just two things you always report on whenever using a questionnaire.
Mhm.
While Umar discusses issues that could undermine the reliability or validity of the Harder instrument, he never discusses how reliable and valid the instrument actually is. So I went poking around. The National Longitudinal Survey of Youth used the Harder scale in a massive research study, and they have a section devoted to discussing its validity and reliability. They even cite the source documents for these validity and reliability tests. But Umar never cites them, nor anything else related to validity and reliability of the
Wow.
Harder instrument.
Okay,
Remember,
stop there.
this is the main
Yeah,
instrument used.
absolutely.
The sad thing is I'm not getting an EDD or a PsyD for this, and I went into the trouble to actually do it. I mean, they should give me the freaking
They
degree.
give you the degree. Send the donations and the donations over to Johnny Walker Dread, you all. Just
I
because
mean,
every time he says he has a doctorate degree, send a donation to Johnny Walker Dread. This is crazy.
but yeah, I mean, like, it took me, a little time, but I mean, maybe 5-10 minutes or something like that. But I found it. Why couldn't he do this?
Simple Google search. I mean, we had internet in 2012.
Not only that, but if he's what gave him the idea of using the Harder scale? Well, wherever he got that would have mentioned in that paper, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, he's just
Oh
so
my goodness.
lazy. That's again lazy.
I think he did wait to the ninth hour to do this, to just throw something together, and
Mhm.
did that intentionally so that he didn't have to do the research on this. Because, and knowing him, he probably went to these three advisors where it should have been, like you said, five, and just threw some word salad their way, and tugged at their emotions, and they felt bad for him, because I cannot fathom why they approved this. I just can't. So okay, I'm done ranting.
Never cites them, nor anything else related to validity and reliability of the Harder instrument. Remember, this is the main instrument used to collect quantitative data for the study. I don't understand how a social scientist could make this mistake, or how
Yeah.
a graduate committee couldn't spot it.
I was gonna say that.
In my previous video, I hammered Umar, or whoever wrote this garbage, for adding two mysterious categories to an existing survey without ever defining them or verifying their reliability and validity. And that's a big no no. You can't just add items to an established instrument for a variety of reasons. Tables 1 and 2 show some serious issues with statistical analysis. In both tables, he just writes p less than 0.05. This p-value roughly describes the confidence in your rejecting the null hypothesis. You see, a social studies experiment usually contains a hypothesis, such as students' math performance is strongly influenced by their scholastic competence, from which you form a null hypothesis. Students in the sample survey will not show a strong correlation between math and scholastic competence. The p-value indicates how confidently you can reject the null hypothesis, and therefore provides strong evidence that the hypothesis is valid, something like that. The problem is that no hypotheses related to these data were ever included in this study.
Oh, good
So what does
lord.
p less than 0.05 really say? But it gets worse. No test statistic is ever mentioned. So I have no way of knowing if the p-value was generated with respect to a t-test, chi-square, or whatever. If you go to table 2, it appears that Umar just assigned p less than 0.05 to anything above r equal to 2 and p less than 0.01 to anything above r equal 3. In other words, he never calculated the p-values at all. And his significant figures are
The math is blowing my mind.
Oh, it's going to get worse
The
here in a minute.
math.
But okay, so here's the thing about the
Oh my
p-values is that when you put p-values, it makes it look scientific,
It
right? Because
does.
you're always going to see p less than 0.05. And so I think that I don't think this is on Thomas Smith. I think Umar stuck those in there to make his paper look, or his advisor said, well, you got to have the p-values. So he just makes them up.
It just makes some stuff that
because-
I mean, to me, it's like, was this a variance? It could be anything.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no information in the dissertation to explain to me what that P represents. And
Oh my God.
I come from the opposite end where I bend over backwards. And if I over explain, I'll take that over under explaining. And my appendices in my dissertation are like tutorials, right? Because I wanted, if somebody came across some term, they go my appendix and they could read, exactly what I mean by that. So
Exactly.
and here he just sticks P less than 0.05. Okay. What does that tell me?
I was literally, and then when I did the reaction to the parts 1 through 3 of your videos, I was like, this could, I mean, you can look at this and say, oh, okay, well, none of the numbers are less than, the ones that aren't less than that. This has an asterisk. The ones that are, it's whatever, or it's a very like. But what are you subtracting it against? I mean, it could be that could indicate anything, and they did not catch it. These advisors didn't even catch. They didn't try to make sense of this. They didn't say what is
They
this
didn't
table.
read it. They didn't read it, and I don't
They
think
didn't
his own
read it.
graduate advisor read it.
They couldn't have. And who's now the dean
Mhm.
of the school? By the way, people, the head advisor is now the dean. PCOM, the dean. That is,
They
just
only
wanna
fall
point that
up. They never fall down.
it's so sad.
absurd. He knows the R value here to two significant figures, but when he squares it, it becomes 0. So in that instance, we lose all significant figures. But here we gained from 3 to 4. Or did Thomas Smith do this? We have no way of knowing because there's zero transparency regarding the source of the data and calculations. We asked her, and she responded that we should just ask the school. Like, really? Keep in mind that a ton of social scientists out there really don't know how to calculate a p-value. To them, a p-value is just a number that their SPSS or R routines crunch out for them. Thomas Smith only has an EDD, not exactly the type of degree that's going to work you hard in the statistics department. And Umar is dumber than even his followers, so it's not surprising that p-values would have given them so much trouble. One more thing. There were only 101 participants, and the regression coefficient here is only 0.1142. That's pretty poor. Whatever test statistic you use, I don't see how you can get a p-value under 0.01. It just doesn't seem reasonable. As it stands so far, these people...
Correction, it was notated as 101. When they broke it down, it came up to 99. So 2 children are still missing.
Yeah, it actually was 101 though, because the percentages, I went back, tracked them, and the percentages only work if there's 101. So again, I think that 2 of the responses were just, they probably just forgot to write their answers, or they ran out of time and just had to turn in their work.
There you go.
And so you had a couple of them were blank.
Oh my God. This is,
but you have to explain
he wants to open a school. You have to, exactly. Would it kill him to put a footnote, and just say that, like, just to explain the 2 student variants? Oh, why that 53 and 46 was not coming up to 101. Here's why. Here's a footnote, and that's it. Would he be able to do that with archival data? Yeah, he could just ask Here's where the archival data came from. I reached out, tried to figure out why there's a variance. It wasn't automatically noted. Here's what
Yeah.
I
Just be
hypothesize or
honest.
theorize. I mean,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Just be
Okay,
honest
oh
and
man.
say, I don't know why there's reported only 99 here, but there were
Exactly.
101, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, back to it.
Values don't make any sense, at least not to me. If I have it wrong, let me know in the comments section. I'm a theorist, not an experimentalist, but I have calculated p-values manually, so I think I'm right in my analysis. This number
I
here
don't want.
should be the same as this number. I mean, identical. But one says 0.000 and the other says 0.008. Which one is correct? Neither of them. Even if you choose the smallest number that could round to 0.029, that is 0.0285, squaring it produces 0.000812, which rounds to 0.001, not 0.008, and certainly not 0. The 0.0309 number here should be the same as here, but it's not. Never minding the sheer sloppiness in these tables. When I look at these values in them, I see nothing. These correlations are, in my opinion, really small. If I was Umar's advisor, I would have told him, Umar, baby, your correlations suck. There's nothing here. Probably because you mashed all the grade levels together. If you disaggregate your results according to grade level, you might actually find some stronger correlations. For example, consider the correlation between math and social acceptance. In middle school, you might even find a strong negative correlation with a very tight regression because many middle schoolers who are good in math consider themselves dorks. We'll
Yep.
never know because the original researcher never bothered to disaggregate the data according to grade level.
Oh
This
my
raises an
God.
interesting question. Umar, or whoever you are, students took the time to tell you their grade levels and ages. What was the point of that if you weren't going to break the results down accordingly?
It's
I
just
mean,
simple
how
stuff.
hard would that have been? It's all in an Excel spreadsheet. For each student, you certainly have a grade level column
Umar has no idea what Excel is. I just want to point that out.
because
Well,
you know which
I'm used
classroom
to just
you
storing
select.
like data or text stuff, right? These
He wouldn't
equations
be
you
able to.
use, they're equations. Wow.
What is this? Oh no, this is interesting. Huh. Like he doesn't know what yellow watermelon is. So let's. I'm not gonna give him any credit to know what an Excel is.
Mhm.
Oh my god!
But,
All right,
but before
The
moving on,
survey
what you say? I'm
you
sorry.
look at this table and you could see the problems. Why couldn't his committee see it? I mean, look at
Oh
that.
my
These
god!
numbers are supposed to be identical. They're not. So what happened? Did you just mistype it? But here's the other thing. I think that
That's sad.
these numbers were done by a calculator. In other words, you took R, they used a calculator to. So that's the reason why you see so many mistakes. I mean,
And
you
I
wouldn't see
mean,
this with an Excel spreadsheet when it does it automatically, right? So
right,
who knows?
exactly. That's formulated. I mean, and he could have
Yeah.
created pivot tables by the grades, by age, you know, by gender. I mean, it would have been an easy pivot table, Umar. A pivot that's the concept he probably doesn't understand either. I'm
No. Oh no,
using
pivot
big
tables
words
are
for him.
way outside his.
It's just too difficult. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to
Yeah.
challenge his brain. All right.
days. You also probably have an age column, depending on whether your IRB allowed you to associate each individual to their age. IRB? No, what am I talking about? Umar, it was really nothing more than duplicating a column and changing column H to column I in the function call. It would have taken you 30 seconds to flesh this information out, and it might have revealed some very interesting results. Well,
Oh,
assuming the
Pretty shocking.
study had been conducted properly,
So
did you want
this
me to
is
pause? Yeah.
this is a problem where you have no intellectual curiosity. This is your research. And the idea would be, I wonder if we disaggregated these self-esteem or self-concepts out by gender, I wonder if we would get something. An intellectually curious person does that.
Right.
They look at the data and they're trying different things. He didn't do any of that. He just stuck it in there because all he
Yeah.
wants is his dissertation. He wants his degree.
Right. That's it. That's all he wants. It's like the biggest con
Mhm.
aside from him in this almost 20-year long grift about a school. This has to be to, and I'm saying this just how I feel based on my reading and the brain cells that I lost reading this dissertation. This has to be the biggest con ever to PCOM and to anything that is good and holy.
Oh, you need to watch my Rashad Ritchie ones.
Oh yeah. So far,
You,
I'm gonna
okay,
watch those. We're gonna watch. I'm gonna react
oh,
to those.
I'll give you a little. I'll give you a little teaser. He wrote. He wrote a PhD in like a religion thing, right? He
Oh my
claims his
goodness.
PhD, and then of course, how do you get his PhD? You have to buy it from a German book company. But I got a copy of it, and I either either he had somebody else write it, or he's the biggest Christo-fascist, anti-black, anti-Asian, or anti-LGBTQ there is guy on the planet. And guess
Oh
what?
my
The
god.
owner of the university, because it's
Mhm.
for profit, is a right winger. Um,
How
so
did you get
you want to
Richard
back off
Richard,
of that.
right?
You want to back off of that. "Oh, this is the worst dissertation." Oh, no, 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 no. And then,
Oh my
but
god.
that one is better than his EDD, which is, in my opinion, the worst manuscript I have ever seen emanating from a supposed graduate student.
Oh my goodness.
It belies, it just boggles the mind how bad it is when you have typos in your title and you have it's oh man, we're I don't want to get too far off track, but
No,
yeah,
I
you
no,
don't
you're
know bad.
fine.
You
Oh
don't know.
my god, you helped me to brace for impact.
Yeah, I'm bracing you for the
Brace for
impact.
impact.
Oh yeah. Yeah, keep
Okay.
in mind, I have 130 of these videos on Rashad, so his corruption goes way outside Umar. It's just, but yeah.
So he's another just, smooth talker on YouTube under Young Turks.
No, he's not a smooth talker because he surrounds himself with people who protect him for the most part. But yeah.
It's
Oh
yeah.
yeah, Rashad Ritchie is the biggest fraud there ever was. And by the
Oh
way,
my
he's threatened to
goodness.
sue me, but come on, bring it on, baby. Bring it on, baby.
Richie Richard. Uh if you sue Johnny Walker Dread, I don't think that you would have a chance with two lawyers. Just on intellect alone, sir. I just want to give you a
Oh.
heads up. All right. You are shredding this dissertation. Well done. Let's get back to it.
And by the way, I should also mention that the first time I come across these dissertations, they look better than when I start to dig. And when I first looked at it, I said, "Oh, well, this isn't too bad." And then I start
Oh my
reading, and then
god.
after a while, you're like, "Oh no,
I think
this
I
is
went to the
it just
tables first and then the table of contents and then I went to the appendix. And then when I saw African American images and he's citing these images throughout the dissertation, I'm like, are these photographs? It was a website, just a
oh,
website. He didn't even cite the book, it was the website.
uh-huh."
I could not believe it. I said, what did he read the books that's on this website?
You
Because
have got to, we have got to talk about Rashad Ritchie. I mean, come on, that's child's play.
if it's
That's
oh
nothing. I
man,
mean, that's like Richard Feynman level of research comparison. Rashad
oh
does.
no, am I
How
gonna
about
walk
this?
away with brain cells on that one?
Well, do you normally get your
Oh,
demographic data from Marxist blogs?
no.
Yeah, well,
No.
you will. You will in
Oh
the
my
future
god.
here.
Oh
Oh
my
man.
god. All right. Well, I'm gonna definitely react to that and prepare myself to just laugh and giggle because that's
Oh, it's
that's what I did with Umar. And it was just laughable. I was like, I can't believe it. I'm so glad we got this dissertation, but
yeah.
it was just to show that intelligent as he wants people to believe. And this is someone who wants to open up a school. Like that's the overall premise of this. This is a man who wants to open a school, and this is what he's producing. When
But keep in
he
mind, he wants to open a school because he wants to proselytize to kids about Pan-Africanism. That's his real motivation. He's not
That's it.
interested in teaching them math and English and all
Not at
that
all.
stuff. No,
Not at all.
it's about cornering a captive audience so that he can jam on them with his political ideology. That's what his school
Exactly.
is about.
Yep. And a grift. I'm saying
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
grift. It's a whole grift.
that was really what it was about.
That's
Right.
All right, we're
Yeah.
gonna finish this out, and then we got to get to that video of him telling the kids with the suicidal ideations.
Well,
I have
before I
to see
forget,
that.
though, you're talking
I have to
about
see that one.
we talked about Umar creating a school. Rashad Ritchie actually created a fake university.
Oh,
So what I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just when you think that, Umar's the worst. No.
Rashad Ritchie. And you endorsed a corrupt judge too. Oh, that I'm gonna speak about as well. He
What's that?
endorsed a corrupt judge, Rashad Ritchie, endorsed
Uh-huh.
a corrupt judge here in Fulton County who was just investigated by the JQC and just finished out a series of hearings to determine whether she should be removed from the bench. He endorsed her.
Was it Cassandra Kirk?
No, it is Shamila Williams.
Oh, I know who that is. Yeah.
Horrible judge. I said remove her. It shouldn't be
there. There's a bunch of them there.
And she was not ready or experienced. She should never been. The only reason why she won re-election was because she was uncontested.
Mhm.
That just goes to show why we need to vote. And he's endorsing someone like her, not caring about her track record or history or anything. So I can imagine what his dissertations look like, considering his poor choice of who he chooses to endorse to sit on our bench and to enforce laws. Oh my reaction videos are about to get amped up. Oh, I'm ready for you, Rashad Ritchie. I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Continue on.
Well, never mind. On page 52 is the summary of qualitative responses, and there are a lot of issues here. It states, taken together, the qualitative responses offered by the student respondents reflect a diverse array of opinions that cannot be classified easily. Right, which is what makes the qualitative data in your dissertation worthless. Clearly, however, even those living in a highly concentrated neighborhood, what do you mean by even those? The data only pertains to a highly concentrated neighborhood. You can't generalize beyond that. Given that respondents ranged in grade and ability level, it would have been interesting to discern whether there were gender or grade differences in the quality of the responses. So why didn't you?
do that?
Are you really telling us that the data that you received was not disaggregated according to grade level? You collected demographic data on their grade level and gender.
Exactly.
It not only would have been more interesting, it would have been crucial for telling the story. A fifth grader's attitudes toward self-concept and self-worth, especially when it comes to such things like athleticism and personal appearance, are going to be radically different from middle schoolers. We all know that middle school is when kids start becoming obsessed with personal image and begin to have serious anxieties about their self-worth. It's also when you start to get serious about attracting the opposite sex. And who among you doesn't think that males and females would have distinctly different self-concept indicators?
Right.
So the qualitative analysis section is where some of the real fun begins. And I'm going to have a lot more to talk about that tomorrow night. But let's take a look at some of these responses here. Being Black has affected my performance in school by people talking about other African Americans, or how Black you are, or European American you are. And Umar goes on to say that this may suggest that many African American children have become self-conscious about their racial identity as a result of peer taunting. Where does the peer taunting come into play here? There was no mention of that. So here, Umar is injecting value judgments into the responses that don't belong. Here's another one. Being Black means a lot to me because being Black and having my ancestors fight for rights is a blessing. As I will talk about tomorrow night, That response was written by Umar, not a
You can't
student.
make this up.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and read on here. According to Umar,
Wait, I gotta get it up. You can't make this up. You
No.
cannot make this
No.
up.
Yeah. I mean, no,
What?
children don't talk like this.
Not at all. My ancestors.
Yeah. Yeah. And European American instead of white, you know.
What?
Have you ever heard say, hey, man, what about that dude across the street? Oh, you mean that European American dude?
They're not gonna say that at all.
No.
You know, my
no.
grandma, my grandpa, they don't because they don't even use terms like elder. Like, you're talking about
But who
ancestors.
does use the term ancestor?
It's
Umar.
no one. Omar is the only. He's such a miscreant.
And the other thing about it is he's not even trying. I would, if I was in his shoes, I would try to write it to make it look like a kid wrote it, right? Misspell the words and all that kind of stuff. But no.
These people did not read. These advisors, they have done a disservice to humanity. They did not read this dissertation at all. Having my ancestors fight for rights is a how much historical context would these kids have as far as understanding fighting for rights? How far back are we going here? Are we going back to civil rights? Like, what did that mean? Are we going to, back to slavery with Harriet Tubman? What that's a broad range of anything. Fighting for rights. The Voting Rights Act, what do we mean?
The original prompt didn't say something like, what about being black in terms of answer? It just says, being black means what? So
exactly.
It just goes on.
And how does that affect my school performance? Like, what are we talking about? What is he? He's giving me a headache. Oh my God. Umar is the worst.
Bigger problem here. That's you collect 101 of these responses from these kids, and there's like 5 or 6. I think there were 6 questions. So you have 606 total responses to come through, and you're going to pull like 5 out. So tell me what that means.
What does it mean?
What good is this? I mean, you could put one up there. Being black means I'm going to strap dynamite to my chest and run through a bank and blow it up. Okay.
Hey, I'm fighting, and my ancestors fighting through. Is that the spirit of the ancestors coming through and shining through, and strapped to your chest right along with what is it? It's so absurd. This is Umar's absurd.
It's just insane.
Okay. All right.
There's one more I go over, I believe. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
That means it's indicative of a child who feels honored and endowed with a strong sense of ancestral obligation towards doing well academically and personally. And nowhere does the kid make any such claim. He just says that being black means a lot to him. Nothing about academics or personal characteristics. Here's another one.
Being black has affected me because European American people look at black people like we're crazy.
And Umar responds, again, this reply is suggestive of possible negative interactions with European Americans. However, this position also could come from a historical or cultural instruction in which African American children can learn, and quite candidly, from television and history books, just how inhumanely their ancestors were treated by European Americans. That's a value judgment, an opinion. It has no business in a qualitative analysis.
Thank you.
Each classroom completed the questionnaires, and so each stack of materials collected from each classroom would have targeted a particular grade level. So why can't you tell us how each grade level responded to the prompts?
Simple.
This is insane. Whoever performed the study, and it wasn't you, Umar, just threw all the results from 4 different classrooms into a common batch? Now, you might even go further and say that the materials completed by each student should have been tagged to the personal identification of the student. In other words, participant 38 completed questionnaires that are marked participant 38.
Right.
Clearly, that didn't happen. And why? I suspect that the original researcher never got IRB approval or only got an exempt classification. Once you make it possible to trace a questionnaire to the student who completed it and their grades, the IRB approval becomes far more stringent and therefore requires more effort. And we can't have that. I mean,
Wow.
effort. Oh, that's the E word. Here's what pisses me off. If I was Umar and I came across this archival data and noticed that it didn't contain that which was important, what would I do? I would set up a study with questionnaires designed for what I was seeking to uncover. I would have arranged for classroom students to receive these questionnaires, and I would enter the data and perform the calculations. That means I would have had to undergo the rigors of the IRB approval, which would require that I take part in the IRB's mandated trainings. And
Mhm.
yes, doing all that takes time and effort, but that is what is supposed to make this doctoral level research.
Right.
Umar didn't want to do any of that. He
Mm.
simply wanted to lean on the data collected by someone else and probably their calculations as well. But I think it's even worse than that. And if you're interested, stay tuned tomorrow night at 8 p.m. EST as I will live stream with Lady Luck Club and reveal what I think truly happened with Umar's research. And it's bad. Like my
That's
video and
serious.
subscribe to my channel.
Okay,
That's
so
Lately,
serious. Uh-oh.
do you want to hear what I
this is
think
the point.
happened?
What happened?
Well, I think I've already kind of laid the ground of it, but let me
Him
just
being
kind of
lazy. Yeah.
overview it
Aside from
here.
that.
So Umar goes in and he wants to get this doctorate for a couple of reasons. Number one, it fits in with his, Pan African black supremacism thing, right?
Mhm.
Lofty degree. It's hard to be a black supremacist if you don't have much education behind you. Right? I mean, it's just kind of, it just doesn't look right, right? And it's the same thing with
Oh my god.
Rashad Ritchie, who claims tons and tons of degrees and posts them on LinkedIn, and then he pulls them off when I criticize him. But
Mm-mm-mm.
so he wants this doctorate because one, it fits in with his Pan African ideals of supremacy, and also he
Mhm.
wants this school, and so
Yep.
he needs to have justification that shows that the real way to learn mathematics is to be proud of your culture. You got to learn your culture, and you have to be proud of it. And if you have enough racial pride, well, you're just going to do better in English. I mean, and you're just going to do better in history. Well, maybe history, I could see it, but right. But there's no mechanism for the others. But that's what he thinks. So he wants to have this school. And so he gets in and he wants to get this doctorate. He goes to graduate school, and I think he probably had somebody helping him on the homework and stuff, doing it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
but now it comes time to get the doctorate, and he's got to do a research study. Well, he probably put something together. Like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get school
Mm-mm-mm.
children. I'm going to give them these questionnaires. And then somebody walked up to him and said, "Did you get IRB approval on this?" Well, no. So he probably submitted it to IRB, and they said, "No, no, no, no.
Yep.
Doesn't quite work like that. Here's some trainings you have to go through. You're going to have to verify the validity and reliability of these new questions you want, right?" Um,
Right.
and so he thought, well, now what do I do? Well, he's got a friend, and this friend is Tamara Thomas Smith. And I don't know if she's a friend, and I
Mhm.
don't know their relationship at all. Okay, but he does know her, and she happens to have this data sitting on her laptop from the surveys that she administered earlier, like 2 years prior. And he probably
Mhm.
did his, come on, you got to help me here, come on, whatever cookies
Those
or whatever thing he called it, right? And of course, he asked her three
little
times.
little Debbie
He gets
snack
three
cakes.
times everything, and so she gives up the information, this stuff to him. Okay, now he collects it, but there's a problem. It has the harder inventory, but the harder inventory doesn't have the juicy questions he wants. Right? He wants questions
Okay.
that point to racial pride, but it doesn't
Right.
have those. So he creates these two new categories, hope and culture,
Culture.
and
Chicken and rice. It could be
he
anything.
adds it to the inventory. I think that Thomas Smith doesn't even know that he added these on there.
Wow.
And so if you go, okay, so he adds them on there in the appendix. But the problem is there's still no data, right? Because she didn't administer those. So what does he do? What does he do?
Create it.
He fakes it.
Yep. You just
Now,
mix
how
it
do
up.
I know that he fakes it? Well, I don't know. But look, if we can go to the actual dissertation,
Yeah, sure.
and we could look up table 3.
Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. Can you guys see? Let me know.
I can. I don't know if that helps you.
Yep. Okay. It's showing up for everyone. Hopefully everyone can see this here. The dissertation is and this is the full one
table,
that I obtained. Okay. I'm gonna scroll in a little bit so you guys can see it better. All right. So you said table 3.
Yeah. Well, go to table 2.
Wouldn't
Go
it
to
be in
table
the
2. We'll look at that one first.
okay.
Oh, and by the
Wouldn't it
way,
be in the table of contents, right? Because oh Lord, hold on. List of tables.
I should mention that we kind of know already that Thomas Smith didn't administer that Harter scale with the European American lingo, right?
Right.
So that was something he created, I'm pretty sure, after the fact. There it is. There's table 3, but let's go to table 2.
You
so
said
you look at
table 2, right?
Yeah, like
okay, hold on.
table 2.
There we go. All
okay. Right. So if you look at this, and you got scholastic competence, social acceptance, and athletic competence, these are your harder inventories. Okay.
Right.
Now, if Thomas Smith included hope and culture, why isn't that showing in here?
Right.
Now go to table 3.
Yeah. Oh boy.
There they are.
Oh,
he was so lazy that he didn't even want to recast the tables to put hope and culture in them. He just creates a new table.
This is so ratchet. It's so ratchet.
Okay, so
where the numbers just so red. I mean, where are the numbers coming from?
Yeah, and I did some looks on it. I looked at the right hand digits on the R columns. The 7s show up too often. Also, if you multiply 0.264 times itself, you get 0.0696. And if you do 0.307 times itself, you get 0.0942. And it gets that way every one of them. However, these are supposed to be floating point numbers, so you shouldn't get the same numbers that you have on R squared every time. However, I did run also the statistics on how likely it would have been. It's not strong enough for me to make any claims. So it looks fake, but I can't make a claim about that. However, the idea that he broke out those two by themselves indicates that he just didn't want to go through the trouble to take the table that was provided to him, table 2, and redo it.
Oh my God. You got I mean, this is so he's like you said, he's so lazy.
Yeah.
He's lazy.
I would be
this is embarrassing.
If I was a betting man and they said, you got to put your entire life savings on a result, what would I do? I would put them on the fact that he wrote those numbers down. Those are not from experimental.
Not at all.
And if that is the case, kiss your dissertation goodbye. Because that is academic fraud.
It is. The fact that he even, some of the information was translated over from 2 other dissertations. That's too, this copy paste, the aspect of plagiarism just comes up too many times in this, and this is just fraudulent data. I mean, you just forged this information in here, and it's.
I want to be careful.
Well, let's just say it's in our opinion.
Well, I'm going to put it this way. It raises a very interesting question as to, was this data actually collected from Thomas Smith, or did Umar make it up?
Wow.
It's either one or the other, because
Wow.
if if and ultimately, and you saw the email I sent. Ultimately, the question
Yeah.
is to Thomas Smith: did
Yeah.
the harder inventory that you administer, did it have these hope and culture questions? If it didn't, then the question goes to Umar: where did you get these numbers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
He can't say
if
he
it,
got it from the results of
yeah,
the test.
and
He
if it
can't say that.
did, if she did include them, then I'm going to be asking her, why are you using European American terms when you work for a school district and the other terms had black in them? I mean, it just
Right.
so, but that's as far as I can go with it. I really want to avoid accusing anybody. Oh, by the way, if you read the next, if you stop here, it says a principal component factor analysis using Viamex, it's actually Varimax, rotation and Kaiser's criterion to extract factors was conducted for the 7 culture scale items. And what does that say? It's, I got the,
And revealed two
and
factors:
revealed
race
2 factors: race pride and
pride
race
and race
identity.
identity.
How in the hell do you get race pride and race identity out of those questions? Come on, right? And if you're going to introduce Varimax rotation and Kaiser's criterion, I think you need to explain to the reader what those
What
are.
that is,
Yeah.
especially if
And
it's not spelled correctly.
yeah, he
It's
misspelled
very
that.
max. We
And,
still wouldn't know.
I'm not too big on worried about typos, except when they're in the title of your dissertation, right? But
Right. Yeah.
so we make these mistakes, but there's no way that you
This is
could take
crazy.
those questions from the harder and you go, oh, you put some hexes on it, right? Oh, and you mix it up and you mash it up. And from that, the tea leaves, you read race pride and race identity.
Oh
And
my
then
goodness.
especially getting strong correlations out of it. It's like, um,
And hope and culture scales. I mean, this is just insane. This is the this is why I said this has to be the biggest con to PCOM that they let happen because
yeah.
they did not read this. They let this happen. If they would have it went over it and at least went over the data, they would have said, okay, dude, you didn't cite anything. Who is this? Dr. Thomas woman, what's going on?
Yeah,
What
but
is
you don't even
hope and
identify
culture
where you
scale?
got the data, right? Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so and
Oh
if
my
you
god.
want, you can go to my very latest shorts video, which is 1 minute long, that
Okay,
I
let's go to
published,
that. Yeah.
because it's kind of on this.
Okay. Let me go back to that and because I think I have that one saved. And then you have to tell me the name of the video.
It's the very
For
last shorts one I did. It,
no, I mean
um,
the other one, the other video regarding him giving advice to
oh, that
this.
one? Yeah, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to. I can look that up while you're doing this.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me share my
That was
screen.
also a shorts video.
Okay. And all right. So here's the shorts that you did, and this is what you did today, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and play this. This is less than a minute. So let's get to
Lately, I've been butchering Umar Johnson's dissertation. Should we call
it.
him Dr. Umar?
Nope.
No, and my videos explain why. As a more minor example, consider this statement from his dissertation. Awatt found that academic self-concept in a sample of African American college students was predictive of subsequent GPA, but global self-concept was not. Umar, Awatt also found that racial identity did not predict either grades or test performance. It's right here. You couldn't have overlooked this. Gee, that kind of disputes your worldview, doesn't it? But you decided to leave it out because intellectually dishonest. If you'd have actually bothered to read Awad's paper, you'd have noted the following.
Mm.
Shavu supports your worldview, but you never cited him. And this would have provided you with justification for carrying out the study described in your dissertation. But these statements were not in the abstract, and you only wanted to read the abstract because lazy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so putting this. Let's get the link to this video in the chat. This was amazing. And it goes back to what you were saying about, you know, the laziness, the inconsistencies, and the failure to cite your sources. It's just that simple. Citation. Give them credit for the information that you include in your dissertation. It's what I learned in 5th grade writing an essay. How did he get through high school not citing sources?
Well, and keep in mind, it shows there is when he went to do his research, he only wanted to read the abstracts, because pulling down the paper and actually reading the paper, well, that's the E word, the E word effort. So he just reads the abstracts, and if he finds something in there, and in that case, there, right, the sentence after the one he quoted basically blew up his argument, and he just totally ignores it. That's just no good.
Yep.
That's no good.
Yep.
You know.
That's
By the way,
horrible.
let's see. Do we have a private chat? I can. Well, I could actually put it in the public chat here if you want.
Yeah, go ahead and
Here's,
drop it. I
but
just need to I'm on your page, and you said it's a short.
I already have it here. I'm pushed it. Okay, I just posted it
Okay.
in the chat, the public one.
Okay. Oh no, I can't click on it.
Oh,
I
you
can
can't.
show it, but
Okay.
I can't click on it. Oh no.
Okay. Well, the name of it is Dr. Umar gives bad advice for parents of troubled children.
Oh wow. When did that happen?
Oh, I don't know when. It's been probably a little while. And
Okay, hold on, doctor.
yeah, there's the title. Did you find it?
For troubled children.
Yeah, if you just type in YouTube search Johnny Walker Dread, Dr. Umar Troubled Children, I'm sure it'll come up.
Oh, this was a 5-minute video. Let me get to it.
Oh,
I
is it?
have poked fun at
Oh, you
Rashad
are, yeah.
Ritchie for amassing
Hold
an
on a second. Let me rewind it. And we're gonna pause. Okay, I got it. All right, so there we go. All right. This was about. I'm gonna give a thumbs up. Make sure you guys. I'm gonna put this in the chat again so that you guys can have it as well. This is why he needs to have his doctorate revoked, because of stuff like this. I haven't even seen it, and I just know it's going to be horrible because he's an idiot. All right, let's get to it.
I think you have the sound off.
Okay.
I have poked fun at Rashad Ritchie for amassing an entire Euclid load of fake degrees. But the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, also known as PCOM, decided to give black supremacist Umar Johnson a real doctorate of psychology. I've been hammering Umar for the blatant fraud he's inflicting on those donating money to his nonprofit to open an elementary school for future black supremacists. But back to his psychology credentials. The Pennsylvania Board of Education even certified Umar as a school psychologist. And if you want to see what happens when the unqualified get certified, hang around, because I'm going to play a clip for you that exposes just how dangerous all this is. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With cold, blunt analysis cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Now, in case you were wondering, the answer is yes. PCOM has verified that he did receive his doctorate from there, although Umar appears to be ashamed of his dissertation as he's not allowing anyone to obtain a copy. And yes, I called the PCOM library and the Department of Psychology, and apparently Umar has told them not to release it to anyone. But back to Umar. This clip is from a speech he held at the House of Hathor, which according to its website is a friendly community cultural store in Columbia, South Carolina, cultivating and manifesting love, peace, family, and wholeness. The House of Hathor creates a space where you can get in touch with African roots. The House of Hathor is a community cultural store that offers a variety of products and services that uphold the cultural significance and standards of traditional African values.
You want to stop a second?
Caring for your kids,
Yeah,
evident.
Yeah. So in other words, it just sells stuff, right? It's just, all this
Word
fluffy stuff.
salad.
It's just a store where they sell stuff, right?
You
And
think that he
Umar,
might be selling those animal parts that he carries around that Ziploc bag? Why did he have to do all of that? House of Hathor, is it
the house.
called?
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but yeah, it just sounds like they just sell trinkets and stuff with African themes, And by the
Okay.
way, the fact that Africa is a very diverse place seems to be lost on them. They just lump everyone as African. Well, there's a lot of different tribal affiliations. They all have their own cultures,
Exactly.
and that just gets lost on these guys.
Yeah. Typically the more ignorant ones that want to uphold this stereotype
Mhm.
don't really dive into the custom or tradition or the language or anything. You ask Umar to learn a separate language. He has yet to master English. So I don't expect him to master anything else, but this is something else.
He
Okay.
should be good at it since he repeats everything 3
You would
times.
think
You think he'd be better at it. Or
you
maybe
would
he
think
doesn't get enough practice. He only gets the third of the practice that everybody else does.
it's just like, dude, if you just add in just a Swahili term, you might be able to get into another, like, just close-minded. I mean, the all right. There's so many things I could call him right now. He's such a clown. All right.
Is not one of them. As you listen to this clip, remember that PCOM gave this idiot a doctorate in psychology.
And every other night in the hotel conference center, there will be a seminar on something that is important for our children: African history, respecting your parents, planning your future, dealing with emotions and anxiety as a young person, which is very important because, in case you don't know, suicide for all Black people is up. And for teenage Black girls, it is through the roof. And I want all of y'all to know right now, do not play around with children when they say they want to kill themselves.
This is good. Take it seriously and get professional help. So far, so good. And that so far won't last more than a few seconds.
Do not play. Let a child in my presence say they want to kill themselves. You're going to the psychiatric emergency response center, and I know you're going to sit there all night before somebody see you. That's exactly where I'm going to take your ass, so you can sit there all night and know next time don't open your mouth and say you want to hurt yourself unless you mean it.
What?
But parents, don't think you know your children as well as you think you do when it comes to suicide. Take them.
Wait, what?
Go back, play it again. It's that bad.
What?
But parents, don't think you know your children as well as you think you do when it comes to suicide. Around with children when they say they want to kill themselves.
This is good. Take it seriously and get professional help. So far, so good. And that so far won't last more than a few seconds.
Do not play. Let a child in my presence say they want to kill themselves. You're going to the psychiatric emergency response center, and I know you're going to sit there all night before somebody see you. That's exactly where I'm going to take your ass, so you can sit there all night and know next time don't open your mouth and say you want to hurt yourself unless you mean it.
Don't open your mouth if you want to hurt yourself unless you mean it.
In other words, punish them by making them sit there all night. Yeah, this
As
is the
if that
advice.
would,
What's that?
I was gonna say, as if that's going to solve it. Is he this is what? You're telling kids who are thinking about self-termination, don't open your mouth and say you want to hurt yourself unless you mean it.
Like, how would you know for sure? Right? So basically threaten the kids that you'd better not tell me you're going to be doing suicide unless you really mean it. And if you do tell me that, I'm going to haul you down to the psych center and we're going to make you sit there all night as punishment to show you what happens when you open your mouth about it. That's his advice. This is from PCOM. PCOM gave this man
A
an actual dissertation.
doctorate degree in psychology. And he wants to open a school.
Mhm.
And he's telling kids, don't open your mouth unless it say you want to hurt yourself unless you mean it. So if they don't say anything, they just do it, then it's his fault.
But
And they're sitting here like, yep, like the ignorance of that.
yeah, and the kid is doing this for a reason. You need to find out. Maybe the kid doesn't mean it, but the kids don't typically say these things unless there's some underlying issue. I thought we hired this guy to find out what those things are, but evidently, no, the best way to handle it is just threaten them so that they don't do it anymore.
Or think that they're suffering by sitting in an OR or a ER waiting area for mental health treatment all night. Like that's going to just solve their problem. And that's it. This man has a doctorate in psychology.
Mhm.
And he has children.
Yeah, although that hasn't been necessarily all that successful, but
How is it that people think that he is fit to be around children saying things like this, let alone have a doctorate in psychology? I can't take him serious. I just, he is a danger.
Some old man would say that, some uneducated old geezer would say about it. Let me tell you something how you handle that. You tell them kids that the next time they come in there with them fake their suicide, I'm going to knock the crap out of them, and that'll stop that. That's what you kind of get from some uneducated old dude, not
ignorant.
from a psychiatrist or psychologist.
Oh my God. I just had to put the caption up there because I couldn't believe what I was seeing or hearing, and I had to see the words. And I am, if I was not disgusted with him before, especially over the way he is handling and treating his mother right now, I'm beyond disgusted because now you're talking about children who are on the verge of self-harm and self-determination. This is
really
disastrous. This is bad.
But you know what? Suppose that some parent does that, doesn't take it seriously, and the kid basically kills himself. Wait till you hear the following. It gets worse. With Umar, it always gets worse. The same with Rashad Ritchie. It always gets worse. Continue playing. He's going to double down on this.
Oh my God. I'm so glad I got the caption.
Brace yourself.
But parents, don't think you know your children as well as you think you do when it comes to suicide. Take them to the hospital. Every emergency room at every hospital in America has an on-call psychiatrist or psychologist. Their job is to do the emergency suicide screens. And trust me, it's a good deterrent for your child to keep them from saying it again.
A good deterrent for your child to keep them from saying it again. So getting professional help means punishing them for bothering you. Make them think twice about coming to you if they're thinking of harming themselves.
Dad, ever since you and Mom divorced, I've been having thoughts of...
You gonna pull that self-harm crap on me? Okay, get your stuff. We're going to the psych ward. You know the routine.
It's okay, Dad. Forget it.
Good. Glad we got that settled. Now don't bother me.
You got to sit there all night until the psychiatrist finally shows up and do their little 30-minute screener. And then you get a piece of paper, Mom or Dad, God forbid, in case your child does commit any type of self-harm, you have a form from a licensed doctor saying that they cleared your child to go back home with you. You got to have that. You got to have it.
You may have ignored your child's plea for help, but it's all good if you have that government form in hand so that you can say, my little Timmy is no longer with us, but don't blame me. Amazingly, not a single parent stood up to his gross malpractice.
Jeez.
I really hate this dude and the morons who follow him.
Me too.
Like my video and subscribe to my channel.
I really hate this dude.
Make sure you get that form so that you can say, hey, not my fault.
I can't believe this.
Yeah. And like there are some people who get in front of certain crowds and say stupid things. A lot of politicians do, right? Because they think that what they're saying is going to resonate. I don't think that's it here. I think this guy has just got a screw loose, and can't imagine, even if I thought that way, I'm not going to say that publicly because I have a like psychiatry doctorate and I'm not supposed to talk like that, you know? Yeah, but
Unbelievable.
that's Dr. Umar. Yeah.
So and I just refuse to give him to call him doctor or anything. He's a clown.
Mhm.
He's a clown. As a matter of fact, it's hard for me to just dignify his existence by saying his name. And if I'm gonna say any name, it needs to be the one on his birth certificate. I mean, this idiot
Mhm. And
has
here's
no
something that,
idea how dangerous that is.
yeah, I think that the community of people like us, we should start calling him Mr. Umar because that will get under his skin. That will
What
bother
is
him.
Umar? I wouldn't even
Mr.
say
Umar.
Mr. Umar. Like I literally, when I do my content on him, I just say Umar or I'll say Prince of Pancrust Pizza. I don't even because that's how I don't take him serious when it comes to his intellect and his education. I just don't. He is so ignorant. He's a buffoon, and
Mhm.
he has no integrity or morals or anything. He doesn't think, it's like he doesn't think past 5 minutes. He doesn't think about the long-term effect of his actions and his words. He doesn't care that he has influence to the extent where people are listening to him. People are asking him to come out and do speaking engagements. I mean, it should be nothing more than a comedy tour. People should just be laughing at what he says, but they should not be taking it seriously. Unfortunately, there are people who do. And you have some young people, you have women who are mothers, who have children. They're taking
Mhm.
stuff like that in and they're absorbing it and they're saying, "Yeah, that sounds about right. Don't come at me talking about you want to self-harm." Like, what are we doing here? So he perpetuating these stereotypes as if we don't deal with that in black communities or in communities with single parents. Like they're not facing enough hardship as it is. Now they have to add on their parents ignoring, you know, the children from who have self-harm ideations. It is absolute madness. It's absolute madness. And I just can't imagine, like, I would be trying to get my child help. I'm a mom.
Mhm.
I'm hearing this as a mother. That's probably why I'm just like real riled up right now because I'm hearing this as a mother. And I cannot imagine as a mother my children even having a thought and not doing something about it, not taking them to get help, not taking them to a psychologist or someone that they can sit down, a mental health specialist, and get. I don't care if they do 4 or 5 sessions. I just whatever it takes for them to get to get to the root of the problem. There, like you said, there is a reason why they probably feeling this way because it's not normal for a child to just be walking around thinking they're gonna take their own life or harm themselves. That's not normal.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he's not even advising treatment. He's sitting here saying, just take them there so they can feel tortured, waiting and sitting in the waiting area, and then that's it. And then they won't bring it. They won't say it again. Okay.
Yeah. Somebody in the audience should have stepped up and said, "Look, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm walking out. I'm not doing this anymore. Man, the
There's
rest of
no
you
way.
guys want to listen to this crap, you can, but I am not." But no, they all just sat there and ate it up. Um,
And
you
agree
know,
with it.
and it's why do people listen to it? Because I think some of them he provides that which they crave, and that is respect, and that is you are because of your where you're from, the continent, you're a cut above, and they want to hear that. I mean, are you here familiar with the Moors?
Yeah. The Moorish
Yeah,
Americans.
there you go. It's the kind of the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
they think that George Washington was black. Some of them do, and and
Morocco
that's
owns
their,
the
yeah,
United States.
sure. And so, and again, it's about power and respect. And quite frankly, the best way to handle this is go to school, work hard, get a good job, be a good person. That's the best respect you can get.
That's it.
But they don't
Yeah.
they don't see it that way. And I think that those things are just outside their reach. They're either
Yeah.
too lazy or they're just intellectually stunted or whatever, but they think they can't achieve those. You know, I
Yeah.
forget who it was. There was a former University of Oklahoma player, and a person asked him, "Well, how are we supposed to compete with you in terms of being a father? I mean, like you're a hero, and how can I be a hero? My kids are always looking up to you." And he goes, "If you're the most honest person that kid
Mhm.
knows,
Sure.
he'll look at you as a hero."
Right.
But that seems to be out of bounds for these kind of people, and instead it's about doctorates and the Rashad Ritchie is, by the way, far worse than this, but
Oh boy, man.
I don't think he's given out dangerous advice like that, but in
Yeah,
terms
this
of
is
just the
dangerous.
esteem and the backslapping, I mean, and with him, it's a network. Like as in introducing his friend as Dr. Such and such, and his friend comes on the stage and, "Yes, Dr. Ritchie." Well, Dr. Such and such, and then you find out that his friend got an honorary doctorate from a what does they call it? GED prep academy.
Oh my God.
Not even a high school.
This is not even real school.
A GED prep academy gave him an honorary doctorate. So now Rashad calls him doctor, and they call doctors this. And there's this web of these people, and there's actually is an accreditation mill out of California that runs out of an old preschool that actually accredits all of their diplomas and stuff. And it's wild. It's wild beyond anything that you've experienced. So we need to do another show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're you know what? You email me whatever time you have available next week on Tuesday, Wednesday. I am planning on having the criminal defense attorney Brian Steele. So I'm going to confirm that interview, and Lene Stacks, shout out to her being in the chat joining the show, has agreed to do interview here in the LLC. So we're going to schedule that tonight because I'm so excited. So yes, if you have something available Tuesday, Wednesday, let me know and we will do another show because
Wednesday nights are better for me.
Okay, cool.
Certainly true, but can I
Absolutely.
leave you with a little teaser about
Yes, sir.
that will make you really want? Keep in mind.
Oh my God, I can't believe he's worse than Umar.
But Rashad, if you go to Morris Brown University, Rashad is on their faculty because, "Can you help me out, brother? Can you get me a faculty meeting?" So they put him in as a professor. But now keep in mind, when you open up his bio, it says JD from I'm trying to think of the name of this school. It's John Marshall, Atlanta's John Marshall Law School, Juris Doctorate. We contacted the school.
He doesn't have a Juris Doctorate.
You know what their response was? We kicked him out after a semester. We threw him out. But if you go to the website of the university, they have a blog article praising him about a month before they kicked him out. Oh, it's the stories never end. And then you have Rashad's Tots, where he promised $18,000 to these kids who had all their money stolen from him, and then he just basically flew the coop on them.
Because Morris Brown College was shut down.
Oh, was it?
Around 2001. And they tried to reinstate it, but it was shut down for a while. But it was after the fall semester of 2001, because that is the year that I started at Spelman. And we had one good semester of a block party and football season over there. And after that, by the spring of going into the year 2002, Morris Brown College was shut down. After they stole all of those kids' financial aid funding, they just shut it down and didn't care. So for him to even, you talking about you on the faculty, you understand what that stands for, being on the faculty of Morris Brown, whatever you want to call it now. But after what they did to these kids, and no relief.
but he was also listed as the dean of academic affairs for the Asia Pacific School of Business, where he got his PhD in physics. Right? But the problem
You
is
can't
when you
make
go to
this
the
up.
Asia Pacific School of Business and you see a picture of the university, it's another university where they photoshopped Asia Pacific School of Business on it.
Stop it.
And so I had a nice discussion with a professor from Northwestern whose picture is on APSB's website as one of their professors. And she's going, I don't teach for them. It's not even my name.
You know what? We're gonna definitely have a discussion next week, Wednesday. This has got to be good.
I have over 120 something videos, and it's just
I'm gonna get through some of them. Oh, we're gonna get the Juris Doctor one is killing me because that's the school my godmother graduated. My godmother would be so embarrassed. My godmother is a federal judge, and she got her Juris Doctor degree from John Marshall, and I cannot believe it. I cannot believe that's so embarrassing for him.
Yeah. Oh, it's great because I didn't know. I mean, you learn something new from Rashad all the time, but I didn't know that Egyptians were able to confirm quantum mechanics from the tattoos that they were given.
Oh, stop it.
It's in there. Yeah, the tattoos that they were given had resonance effects that confirmed quantum mechanics.
Yep. You know what, Rashad, I'm just gonna laugh at you because of the buffoonery of it all now. I can't take you seriously. I can't believe he lied about a JD. I cannot believe you're lying about obtaining a law degree. Like, you know, it's only the sickest of the sickest of people that lie about that.
He claimed 3 of them. Well, okay, here's what happened.
God.
He gets kicked out of this I forget the name of it, that one university. So the next thing we know, Birmingham School of Law is going to give him a Juris Doctorate, and he's almost done. He's on Twitter. I'm studying for the final test for my JD from Birmingham School of Law.
Jesus.
Right? And all of a sudden, like months go by, we don't hear any more from it. And then on LinkedIn, underneath that, inside the actual explanation, he says, well, I didn't get my Juris Doctorate from the Birmingham School of Law. I got it from the University of the Renaissance or Renaissance University, right? And then he doesn't tell you where it's at. It's Renaissance University of Haiti.
What?
Yeah. So he claims now that his Juris Doctorate is from a Haitian university that only teaches in French, right? We don't know French. That is war torn, couldn't possibly
you can't make this.
And so, however, it gets better.
Johnny.
How do you pick this university? How do you pick this one? Because he got an advanced degree from Western Orthodox University, another diploma mill that promises that if you get the degree from them, they'll send your transcripts over and get you one from the Haitian University. So you get 2 for 1. Dude, I'm telling you.
Coupon, now you got that sounds like a coupon for Popeye's chicken. You can't make this up.
Rashad Ritchie is outrageous. And then he decided, well, I'm tired of giving my money away. Why can't I get on the receiving end? So he creates his own university called St. Magnus, which was a joke. And so he gets his friends to teach for him. They didn't know that he was going to stick their names up there as actual faculty, right? And I tore it a new asshole, and it all of a sudden disappeared. It was gone. But yeah, he thought he was going to get foreigners giving him money for the craziest degree title. One of them was quantum mechanics of religion or something.
Stop it.
No, I mean, it's, oh my gosh. It was
theology, it's theology, biology.
But you know what? That Johnny Walker Dredd, he's got 120 videos and he's a liar. And I can prove that he's a liar because here is a journal article where these journalists hired this detective agency to investigate my degrees. And the detective agency said, we checked and all of his degrees are valid. And how did they check? Well, they went to
Dear
the
Lord.
website, and the website says they're valid. Okay. But
Yeah.
it gets better. It always gets better.
Johnny, it's the theory of couponology.
We looked up the owner of the journal. It's Rashad Ritchie.
Stop.
But it gets better. It gets better. The detective agency, their office is in the same complex as Rashad's office.
You want to go next door and be like, hey, did I get my coupon ready? I need to figure out. I got a school in Haiti I got to graduate from in 3 months. Y'all need to hurry. You can't make this up.
No. I mean,
cartoon series.
You literally can't make it up. And he was posting so many fake, and I'm being serious here. He was posting so many fake announcements and degrees, I couldn't keep up. I told my friend Brian that, dude, I can't put out another video right now. I'm still trying to do the editing on this fake master's degree.
The juice, doctor.
So at one point he had like 3 PhDs, 2 Juris Doctorates, I think 5 master's degrees.
Oh no, not a medical degree in that.
But then he wants to get a real master's, and it turns out that Dartmouth has this absolute loser program, and they I think they admitted him, so he can't have all these fake degrees up on LinkedIn. So all of a sudden he starts purging them. So now you see a lot of these universities, and one of my shorts I said, "Hey Rashad, you just admitted they're fake because you pulled them down." And there are some degrees. There are some degrees that are so embarrassing that he doesn't even claim them on LinkedIn. It's just, but
how can you claim to have graduated from John Marshall School of Law with a JD and there's no evidence? They kicked you out after 1 semester. That's not the same thing as having graduated. Is it the definition of the term graduated that he does not seem to comprehend here? What are we dealing with? It's like the man has, the way you're describing him, he has multiple personalities in his head, and he just can't keep up with which voice has graduated with what school. It's just one personality with the Morehouse, another personality went to John Marshall. He just can't keep up with him. 18 people living inside his head, and he just doesn't know what he wants to see.
He led police on a chase. They're chasing him down, and he's running off because he got drunk and slammed his car into another one. It's so comical. I mean, crazy. Oh my god! And we got to do it. I mean, and I will say this:
we're doing it.
I know that you out there in viewer land are not going to believe a large part of it. Believe it. I have the receipts. I prove everything.
That's what we love here. We love the receipts here.
Yep. And how they keep him on at the Young Turks.
I don't know. It's the word salad. It's the way he articulates, and it's like, dude, just be a YouTuber, just be a content creator, just be a journalist. I mean, he doesn't even do research, I don't think. Just be a commentator. That's all. That's it. Like with Umar can just go and do speaking engagements. He doesn't have to open a school. He doesn't even have to claim to be intelligent at this point. He gets enough speaking engagements. He still gets people that want to hear him. He gets, interviews with the Breakfast Club, and because Charlemagne is kissing his butt, and he gets, enough notoriety where people still pay attention to him when he goes live. Just be a content creator. Why go for school?
This fall, you're going to get the Judge Ritchie show.
Oh, good.
That's going to come out on it. So he's going to play a judge, like Judge Judy. Yeah.
See,
my
grandmother told me stop taking the show seriously. He doesn't have a law degree. What is he doing?
I just can't wait for Judge Ritchie to come out.
Oh my God.
Something else. And I know what it's going to be. It's he's going to play clips of the viral clips, and then he's going to weigh in and decide who's guilty and who's not. And I can tell you who's going to be guilty every time, right? Every time he'll invite those people involved course, the people that he's going to blame are not going to show up. Of course, they can't defend
Not at all.
themselves. It's going to
Yeah.
be a
It's
total
gonna be a
nightmare. But yeah,
right.
Judge Ritchie, that's coming out this fall. So
Oh my God. I guess we'll be, mocking and laughing that at that because he doesn't have a spine and I just love it. He can't handle it. But thank you so much.
I
And
really
listen, we're
love
gonna
this.
do this on
Yeah,
Wednesday. If
absolutely.
you guys have any questions, email me at ladyluckclubllc@yahoo.com because we're going on 3 hours and I don't want to continue to take up your time. And I appreciate you coming on, speaking with us. And we will be back on Wednesday laughing at Rashad Ritchie because he's a clown. I
Yeah.
cannot believe he tried to lie about getting a Juris Doctorate. That blows my mind. But
Oh, it's
thank
far
you
worse.
all so much.
Thanks again. I
Johnny
appreciate
Walker
it.
Dread. So
Really
we'll do
enjoyed it.
the same thing on Wednesday, and we're gonna laugh at Rashad Ritchie and have some cookies and milk because you can't take that clown seriously. So you guys tune in. I'm gonna schedule that, and we'll sit down and schedule the time as well. So look out for that. You guys make sure you check out Johnny Walker Dread YouTube channel. The link is in the chat. Check out his content. He has a fantastic 4-part series on Umar Johnson's dissertation breakdown, and it is worth every second. I laughed when I reacted to it, and I had a good time. Great minds think alike. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be on Wednesday.
That's right.
All right, you have a
Wednesday.
good one.
We'll do it.
And
We'll do it.
all right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Johnny Walker Dread. I'm going to drop you
Thank
off
you.
and now give some final words. Thank you so much, and
All right.
thank you
Take
to
care.
your channel, your supporters for tuning in as well.
Yes. And thank you.
All right,
Take care.
have a good one. There you go, you guys. Thank you so much, LLC. You guys are awesome. Almost 3 hours. You guys, please email me questions and any comments, anything you want me to share. At the beginning of the show on Wednesday, I will make sure I ask the questions that you guys have from tonight's show. Um, and we have Lene. Is Lene still here? Lene, oh, we got a super. Thank you, Andre. Listen, I forget to say every we have a $25 goal every live stream. I forget to say that. Y'all see how it goes? We have $25 goal that goes towards the channel and the expenses for the content, like the StreamYard and Xfinity and the light bill, like things, I would need to create content here. I forget to say it. But thank you so much. Shout out to you, Andrea, for the 1 Super. They're professional con men. Yes, they are. And the worst part is that they have an audience. They have people listening to them. They have people that are tuning in and they know it. They have influence and they know it and they abuse it every time they get in front of a camera, in front of a mic. They abuse that influence, and they take no responsibility. And the idea of Rashad Ritchie trying to sue Johnny Walker Dread is no different than Umar, threatening to sue Lynn and Honor, all because they're exposing them and they're putting out the truth. They put out the evidence. They want to alter reality for all of us, I guess. Like we don't know what we're seeing when we're researching information. Umar, you can kick rocks. It's like they don't care that if I put out information from the court docket on that writ of monitions and read the information that we know what we're reading, it's like in their word, it just doesn't exist. And it's ridiculous. You can't alter reality for everyone on earth. You might be able to brainwash some of the people that just enjoy hearing you say, things that they agree with, albeit it might not always be factual. Most times it's not with Umar, but it doesn't mean that you get to alter reality and the irresponsibility that their influence, they know that they have with their influence and just saying reckless and dangerous things is sickening and disgusting. So we're going to continue to dive into Umar and hold him accountable. And every time he goes out and says and does something dumb, we're going to call it out for what it is. And like I said, let him keep going around talking about he has 6 degrees if he wants to. I'm going to get the dissertations for every single degree he thinks he has. Yes. Yes, I will. Because that is, as an independent journalist, that's a way to fact check. Oh, you have a degree? Oh, okay. What school you went to? Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get it. That's public information. Him thinking that he just has the right to keep it sealed. No, no, we'll get it. We'll get it. So shout out to Jay Witt podcast, my brother in Christ, for getting that dissertation email from the librarian. It's ironic that Johnny Walker emailed the librarian and they never sent it. And then Jay Witt emailed the librarian and he sent it. There must have been a new librarian put in place. And my email went to the 3 advisors on the dissertation, and they still have yet to respond, people. I can't make that up. And you guys saw I did a video and I posted up the email. They never responded. But let's bless God for the librarian. Okay. So I know now who to directly email for any dissertation, for any degree that Umar wants to lie about having. Well, now we know where to go. And he can't tell them, don't release it. Yeah, okay. Shout out to you, writer Albert Lanier. I said the same thing years ago about Umar. All he needed to do was tour the country, do speaking engagement, and sell his self-published books. I think his ego is part of the issue. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just do what you're good at. Running your mouth. People are paying you to do it. Hell, you could go be a regular on the Breakfast Club. It's funny how, Charlemagne probably would not want him to do that all the time because he knows he's a clown, but yet he keeps defending him. It's ridiculous. But yeah, just go on speaking engagements. Go be a YouTuber. Just go be a commentator. You could just, he wouldn't be good at stand-up comedy, but whatever. It would be better than him standing there acting as if he's so, divinely gifted with intellect and intelligence, knowing that I'm still waiting to see a copy of the actual degree from PCOM and a transcript. I want to see a transcript because he did not pass math, social studies, science, or English, or anything related to that. There's no way he passed his core classes at PCOM. I refuse to believe that. Yeah, no, he did not. The grammar and syntax in that dissertation and that weird math that you had in those tables, I refuse to believe that you passed your core classes, Umar. You Prince of Pan Crust Pizza. Thank you. Shout out to you, Kandia. My mods are fantastic. I have the greatest mods on YouTube for dropping the YouTube channel for Johnny Walker Dread. And I miss Lanier. Manny, our chief receipts officer. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Is Lene still here? Because I want to go ahead and please email me, Lene Stacks. Email me. Oh man, I'll do an interview with you on Monday if you're ready. Because we have to get to the bottom of this issue with the mother. She does not deserve to be treated the way she's being treated. And there are so many people concerned. It's disturbing that, Umar is not even allowing wellness checks or her other children to see her. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. And those messages that were on Night and Day Media, those posts he did were recent, as of what, the 3rd of September. Like this is a new issue here. So there's just I don't know. It just disturbed me last night, and I'm thinking, I'm like, what if that were my grandmother or my mother? Like, oh, heaven forbid, heaven forbid. These comments gotta go. They need to learn that they ain't working. It's just the way you do it. Exactly. They need to get jobs. One needs a job. Mar didn't sue me when I wrote he was a con artist years ago. I guess I was too small for it. He goes after Lennon Honor, though. And after doxing Lennon Honor has a family. And his brainwashed cult members, they will tell you, oh, Lennon Honor was talking about him. So what? It's YouTube. It's called freedom of speech. He has no spine. He can't handle criticism, but he wants to be the public figure. We're members of the press. We report on information. So trying to sue someone that is a member of the press, an independent journalist, or whatever Lyndon Honor considers himself to be, it's ridiculous. And it was a federal lawsuit at that. I might go over that. I might go over that lawsuit that Umar filed against Lyndon Honor. Because that's something else. I mean, the idea of him trying to file a lawsuit when he can't write a dissertation. Umar, you're a clown and an idiot. And telling kids, sitting just in a waiting area is somehow going to solve any ideations of them self-harming or self-terminating is disgusting. You're a demon. Your mother called you evil for a reason. That has to be just absolutely soulless. So, I think he just picks on Lyndon Honor for some reason, and I don't know why. But Lyndon Honor's channel blew up too. He gave them the notoriety, but he wouldn't be able to sue you, Ryder. He wouldn't be able to sue you, Albert. It wouldn't work because he's not smart enough to go about doing it. And then you're trying to sue a member of the press. That would be hilarious. Shout out to you, Andrea. Thank you for the 1999 super. I think we met our goal. Thank you. Oh, Manny, we did. Oh, we exceeded our goal. Thank you so much for the 1999 super. Y'all, we exceeded our $25 goal. That is a blessing. Thank you all so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, he needs a job, pay a bill. Oh my goodness. We hit the goal. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully Lene does email me. I didn't see her in the chat still. So you guys make sure you stay tuned. We're gonna finalize the interview with criminal defense attorney Brian Steele. That's a blessing. I'm so excited about that. I don't know what to do. And we're definitely going to get Lene Stacks on. And next week we will have Johnny back on, laughing at Rashad Richie. You're the worst. Dude, I can't believe you tried to lie about a Juris Doctorate. All right, y'all. You guys make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Leave your comments. Email me questions that you have for our guest that's coming up. Johnny, Brian Steele, Lene Stacks. Hopefully we can get her confirmed. Just email me, reach out to me, and I can try to get some questions in. Hopefully, tomorrow I'm going to do some videos and just have them premiere, and then we would do our first our Spanish course. It's going to be some videos where we're just trying to, repeat in dialogue and type some conversations in the chat on our members only for Spanish. And then we'll work on that for about a good month or so, and then go to the next job. Get to the next job. Yeah, I'm tired. Listen, I'm looking at RJ. That's go to the next job. We'll go to the next language. After fees, you definitely did, lady. Good job. Thank you. Good job. But I said we'll go to the next job. We will go to the next language that you guys vote on for us to sit down and engage in some dialogue. There's some people who speak Spanish fluently. So hopefully, they are members. If not, consider becoming a member and you can help teach some Spanish. We're ready to learn and speak fluently, and then the content can become more expansive and creative and in multiple languages. And then, we can go to other people's, live streams and shows and speak to each other in Spanish, and most won't understand what we're saying. We can talk to each other, and then people will be like, what language are y'all speaking? Lady Luck Club. That's what we're speaking. Yep. And they will not have any idea what we're talking about. That's fun to me. All right, y'all. You guys take care. Have a good evening to you all. Thank you so much. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.